Welcome to the Behind Them Sticks podcast, brought to you by TSWS Game.
Come and talk to me, Lennard Ray. Come on. Come and talk to me. I just wanna have a conversation. No, I'm not your type of baby. Listen, I'm just saying we can rule the world, just me and you, if you could play it. Won't you take a chance with me and have that conversation? I just wanna have that conversation with you. Come and talk to me. I just wanna have that conversation with you. Look, see we vibing and you know it's true. Baby, what it do? Do for me and I'ma do for you. No doubt about it. Boosie, I'm a Midwest king, looking for myself a queen. Ready to chase a dream with a dope self-esteem. You finer than all I know, and that's for real. You get to shaking that ass on the floor and I see what's real. No disrespect, I just tell it like it is. Do you ever want some kids? What your ultimate goals? Maybe I can help with those. The mo was broke when he made you a blessing. You looking like a whole buffet and I need some seconds. You say you had promiscuous ways, that was back in the day. I'll be alive, I say I did it, that shit was a phase. So baby, take this journey with me. You can pick the time and place, this nigga isn't picky. Smile on your face, I know the deal. Sign and deliver after seal. I can see it in her eyes, this one right here for real. I just wanna have a conversation. No, I'm not your type of baby, listen, I'm just saying we can rule the world, just me and you, if you could play it. Won't you take a chance with me and have that conversation? I just wanna have that conversation with you. Come and talk, yeah. I just wanna have that conversation with you. Lady, you so far ahead of these others, just like a ship on the horizon. Picking up on your vibe, signal stronger than Verizon. All the thoughts that I've been contemplating, ain't no time for faking or debating. You the one, ain't no mistaking. Always carry yourself like you ready, you know the mission. I had to know you, I'm 10.
Hello to those that are stopping in and watching. We will be getting started here shortly. I'm just waiting for Nitrous to get back onto Discord. He is just getting home now, so just double checking and making sure that I got everything set up. So once he hops in here, we're just gonna go on ahead and get started. So I appreciate everybody that is here, chilling and waiting, but we will be getting started here soon. Go on ahead and enjoy that intro in the meantime. Thank you.
But baby, listen, I'm just saying we can rule the world, just me and you, if you could play it. Won't you take a chance with me and have that conversation? I just wanna have that conversation with you. Come and talk, yeah. I just wanna have that conversation with you. Come and talk to me.
Welcome to the Behind Them Sticks podcast, brought to you by TSWS Game.
Come and talk to me, Lennard Ray. Come on. Come and talk to me. I just wanna have a conversation. No, I'm not your type of baby. Listen, I'm just saying we can rule the world, just me and you, if you could play it. Won't you take a chance with me and have that conversation? I just wanna have that conversation with you. Come and talk to me. I just wanna have that conversation with you. Look, see we vibing and you know it's true. Baby, what it do? Do for me and I'ma do for you. No doubt about it. Boosie, I'm a Midwest king, looking for myself a queen. Ready to chase a dream with a dope self-esteem. You finer than all I know, and that's for real. You get to shaking that ass on the floor and I see what's real. No disrespect, I just tell it like it is. Do you ever want some kids? What your ultimate goals? Maybe I can help with those. The mo was broke when he made you a blessing. You looking like a whole buffet and I need some seconds. You say you had promiscuous ways, that was back in the day. I'll be alive, I say I did it, that shit was a phase. So baby, take this journey with me. You can pick the time and place, this nigga isn't picky. Smile on your face, I know the deal. Sign and deliver after seal. I can see it in her eyes, this one right here for real. I just wanna have a conversation. No, I'm not your type of baby, listen, I'm just saying we can rule the world, just me and you, if you could play it. Won't you take a chance with me and have that conversation? I just wanna have that conversation with you. Come and talk, yeah. I just wanna have that conversation with you. Lady, you so far ahead of these others, just like a ship on the horizon. Picking up on your vibe, signal stronger than Verizon. All the thoughts that I've been contemplating, ain't no time for faking or debating. You the one, ain't no mistaking. Look, I see you swag different. Always carry yourself like you ready, you know the mission. I had to know you, I'm tempted. I can see why you timid. Hold up now, baby, listen. Just take that dance with me. I can show you that there's a difference. I'm locked in. I throw away my playaways because you pop in. A shooter always shoot a shot. With you by my side, I guarantee we'll reach the top. I put that on God and them. I give you all that I got. So baby, take this journey with me. You can pick the time and place. This nigga isn't picky. Smile on your face, I know the deal. Sign and deliver after seal. I can see it in her eyes. This one right here for real. I just wanna have a conversation. No, I'm not your type of baby. Listen, I'm just saying we can rule the world, just me and you, if you were playing. Won't you take a chance with me and have that conversation? I just wanna have that conversation with you. Come and talk, yeah. I just wanna have that conversation with you. Come and talk to me.
Welcome to the Behind Them Sticks podcast, brought to you by TSWS Game.
Come and talk to me. Lennard Ray. Come on. Come and talk to me. I just wanna have a conversation. No, I'm not your type of baby. Listen, I'm just saying we can rule the world, just me and you, if you were playing. Won't you take a chance with me and have that conversation? I just wanna have that conversation with you. Come and talk to me. I just wanna have that conversation with you. Look, see we vibing and you know it's true. Baby, what it do? Do for me and I'ma do for you. No doubt about it. Boosie, I'm a Midwest king, looking for myself a queen. Ready to chase a dream with a dope self-esteem. You find it in all I know, and that's for real. You get to shaking that ass on the floor and I see what's real. No disrespect, I just tell it like it is. Do you ever want some kids? What your ultimate goals? Maybe I can help with those. The mo was broke when he made you, you a blessing. You looking like a whole buffet and I need some seconds. You say you had promiscuous ways, that was back in the day. I'll be alive, I say I did it, that shit was a phase. So baby, take this journey with me. You can pick the time and place, this nigga isn't picky. Smile on your face, I know the deal. Sign and deliver after seal. I can see it in her eyes, this one right here for real. I just wanna have a conversation. No, I'm not your type of baby, listen, I'm just saying we can rule the world, just me and you, if you were playing. Won't you take the chance with me and have that conversation? I just wanna have that conversation with you. Come and talk, yeah. I just wanna have that conversation with you. Lady, you so far ahead of these others, just like a ship on the horizon. Picking up on your vibe, signal stronger than Verizon. All the thoughts that I've been contemplating, ain't no time for. Come and talk to me. I just wanna have a conversation. No, I'm not your type of baby. Listen, I'm just saying we can rule the world, just me and you, if you were playing. Won't you take a chance with me and have that conversation? I just wanna have that conversation with you. Come and talk to me. I just wanna have that conversation with you. Look, see we vibing and you know it's true. Baby, what it do? Do for me and I'ma do for you. No doubt about it. Boosie, I'm a Midwest king, looking for myself a queen. Ready to chase a dream with a dope self-esteem. You find it in all I know, and that's for real. You get to shaking that ass on the floor and I see what's real. No disrespect, I just tell it like it is. Do you ever want some kids? What your ultimate goals? Maybe I can help with those. The mo was broke when he made you, you a blessing. You looking like a whole buffet and I need some seconds. You say you had promiscuous ways, that was back in the day. I'll be alive, I say I did it, that shit was a phase. So baby, take this journey with me. You can pick the time and place, this nigga isn't picky. Smile on your face, I know the deal. Sign and deliver after seal. I can see it in.
All right. What up, everybody out there in the world? It's your boy Ham Solo coming back for another fantastic episode of Behind Them Sticks. This time, I have my Xbox boy with me today. I don't know if you can call him really Xbox boy or anything like that. I mean, he's just gaming. But bro really supports and loves his Xbox stuff, and I just wanted to throw that out there. But anyways, brother Nitrous Andre, is that okay to call you that? Are you still going by that name?
Yeah, that stuck with me since I was about 12. So, still relevant to this day. So, absolutely.
Absolutely. So sweet. So, yeah, that's what we're going on. I was going to say, I hope so, because I done labeled everything Nitrous Andre already.
Right, yeah.
So it is what it is at this point. I was just hoping everything was kosher.
Oh,
But anyways, brother, how you been doing? What's been going on with you?
Busy. Being a dad. I would say gamer, but based on today's qualifications, I may seem like a part-timer to some, based on my hours and whatnot. But life is life. So being a dad, working, extracurricular activities, things like that. So I'm very, very busy these days.
Yeah, real things. I got you. Real things going on. But anyways, brother, so the way I like to kick off every show, I like to ask my I like to ask the person that came on, what gaming and social media platforms are you on? So people throughout gaming can either contact you to hit you up to play, or maybe they can check out your content. Because I know you have a YouTube channel. You haven't been on it a whole lot as of lately because of real world situations. But
Right, exactly.
I'm sure you're going to be making a comeback at some point to continue, just showing out for what you enjoy.
Oh, most definitely. Everybody can find me on Twitter. I wish it was Nitrous Andre, but I've been up and down on Twitter. If I'm not mistaken, I believe it's twitter.com/Dre_X94. It was Dre B's 94, but I'm like, you know what? I play Xbox a lot. So let me just put an X in there instead of just BZ. So it should be Dre_X94. You can find me on Twitter. YouTube, you can find me at youtube.com/Nitrous Andre. And right now, it's like the hottest thing I have was tutorial video of like how to change your theme on Xbox, make it custom and whatnot.
Yeah.
But I'll definitely be uploading more content shortly. Well, let me not say shortly. I don't want to give promises like that because, I do plan for my channel to grow. Just not in that space to where that's my full focus. But that's definitely a long-term goal going down the line. So you guys should definitely stay tuned. And definitely on Xbox Live, Nitrous Andre. I've been up there forever now. Since I was 12 years old, I've had that name. When you go through your teenage years, you go through phases or your little things. And so it was Nitrous Andre. There was Prince of Darkness. Shout out to The Undertaker, WWE, huge fan. Then I went to something more along the lines of Prince style stuff. So
Yeah, we're going to talk about that too a little bit.
birthday to Prince as well. It's Prince Day, So, yeah. And then I went to the Lord of Darkness once again back into my Undertaker phase and whatnot. But back to Nitrous Andre. That was my original Xbox name, and that's what everybody knew me as. And so, that's going to stick throughout now at this point. Things have changed tremendously since then, but that's the core of who I am. My online identity, you might say. Too bad I can't make the rest of my channels with that name though. So hopefully I get around to it. But
you'll work it out. It ain't no thing. It ain't no thing right now. But bro, we are right around the corner of this showcase that's going to be happening soon, right? So so after we get through your background and just how you kind of came up into gaming, we'll definitely have to hit on some of those questions. So I want that to be in the back of your mind as of right now. I want to hear some of the things that you expect to see, things that would surprise you, and then things that just flat out have to be there to be a successful event. So I want you to just kind of keep those thoughts in the back of your head right now as we progress through the show. Okay?
Most definitely.
All right. So gotta ask you, what are you playing as of right now? What's been going on?
True. As of right now, I'm playing Twitter. No, no, but I'm dabbling in Game Pass a bit. I'm actually trying to clear up my backlog. My backlog has gotten to it's my backlog is crazy. So I've been dabbling back into Yakuza Like a Dragon actually lately. I've been tweaking around recently with Ninja Gaiden only because I never beat Ninja Gaiden Black. That game was so hard to me, and by the time I got into that series, that's when Ninja Gaiden 2 came out a long time ago, and then 3 came out, and so I'm just really trying to clear up my backlog. And then I have to go back to actually focus on Cyberpunk. That's something I really want to get into, but I don't want to, dive into it until I can get as much time as possible. Like, that's one of the games I really want to sit down and be like, hey, I'm going to put hours into this, and I'm going to explore everything the world has to offer. Everybody gave
Okay.
it, a negative feedback at first, but I didn't play it. I told myself like I'm not going to play any first. I played the first mission. Literally, I made a character, played the first mission, and that was it. And I said to myself, until this game gets a next gen patch, I'm not getting into it
You're
whatsoever.
you're just like me in that sense, because I did the exact same thing. I was like, dude, I just can't validate this game unless I'm getting the whole potential of the game. I don't want it to be like half-assed done or anything like that or whatnot. So yeah, definitely. I hear you on that point, and I'm 100% with you for that for sure.
Yeah, but my backlog, thanks to Game Pass as well, and even purchases and all the new stuff coming out, it's like I really can't keep up at this point. And I've had Yakuza Like a Dragon since launch, and that game in itself is long. So that's the game that I've really got. So that's like a game that I've really sunk my teeth in just a little bit. Like I've had the appetizer so far, so I'm just now getting to the beginning of the main course of the game. So I'm really trying to get into that, and then from there, whatever else is in my backlog, I just gotta find a way to clear it out. Like I got Gears Tactics in there, and you know, Gears is one of my absolute favorite series. Probably in all of gaming or all of Xbox, to be quite frank with you. And so me not beating Gears Tactics, and I know for a fact Gears is going to have something for us at E3. You know, whether they have, they've been teasing it a lot, so I'm fully expecting it. But I definitely got to beat Gears Tactics before anything new releases. Because I feel like they're going to do something that's going to really shake things up. They might even shadow drop a game, who knows? But I'm expecting something from them this year. So Gears Tactics and Yakuza Like a Dragon and Cyberpunk are on top of my list right now.
It's funny that you say that because Jez Corden came out and was saying on something on the lines of a Gears Tactics 2 or something like that. Like he had really hoped to see that at the event. And I feel like I kind of am with a lot of other people. When Jez says something, you're not sure if it is him secretly saying, yo, this is coming,
Right.
or if he's just saying, I actually wish this thing. I have no idea what's actually going on. Jez is so kind of like hit and miss with that stuff, where it's like he'll mention something and then you'll see it and you'd be like, this dude knew this whole damn time, or something
Right.
like that. So I'm interested to hear what comes out that has to do with the coalition with this event, because that'd be exciting to hear something new announced. I'm not big into tactics games and stuff like that, but the more that we get positive feedback from gamers that like that kind of stuff, the more other titles and cool other things that we'll get that come with that throughout the future.
Right, most definitely. And the fact that he did mention that Gears Tactics too, just seeing certain tweets from the coalition, I don't know what the issue is, but a lot of people aren't paying attention to their Gears of War page. And I've been seeing their tweets frequently. Like there's a lot of lore, and their most recent tweet has caught my attention. It's funny you mentioned Gears Tactic 2. They showed a bunch of locusts, and they're like, "Oh, so which class would you use, to beat these guys?" And I only think of two things: either Horde mode or the classes in Gears Tactics. So he really may be on to something. He probably does know something that we don't know. They might just do what they did before. Like they announced Gears 5, Gears Pop, and Gears Tactics. So we might just get a triple, kind of deal with them as well. Just a lot to look forward to in this showcase. You have rumored hour and 30 minutes for Sunday, and then the extended show, which I am pretty sure is going to be hosted by Cole Eastwood, but we'll figure that out whenever that's fully announced. But I'm expecting a lot, especially from the Coalition. They always deliver. I feel like, I don't know why, but like Gears 5 was truly amazing, and I feel like that game didn't get the just due that it deserved from our community. But if you want to dive into that, we can. But I just had to throw that out there. Speaking of the Coalition.
Absolutely. No, you're good. You're good with that. We should move on to the next things because I know this show for me gets off the rails really easy, and I end up talking about a subject for like a half hour, 45 minutes, and never moving on. So with you saying, hey, we can hop down that road, I'm like, no, we better not hop down that road, because once we go down that road, I don't know how I'm gonna get out of it. But moving forward to some more kind of interesting things. So I didn't get the chance to really talk to you before the show like I usually get with some other folks. Doesn't always happen. But I kind of want to know what was like the first console that you had access to, not the first one that you personally bought, but the one that you had access to that was like, in your household or in your cousins or, your friend next door or something like that. Kind of give me some background.
So the first consoles that I recall having experience with was like my cousins owned it, It was Sega Genesis. There was Nintendo 64 and the SNES. So SNES, I have faint memory of, to be quite frank with you. It was kind of like oh, my cousin has this game, play it real quick, saw him play it. Okay, bye. I'm going back home now. I'm like a child. But definitely Nintendo 64 is like what really spoke to me. That kind of opened up the doors for gaming for me. Back in the day, I used to all go to my grandma's house, like, all my cousins, we would all hang out, and my cousin, Bill, he would bring over his Nintendo 64. Now, he was always the guy with the games. He would come over with the Nintendo 64 or, oh, the PlayStation's out. My cousin and my brother have the PlayStation. They put it in the living room. We're playing PlayStation. We're playing Nintendo 64. But Nintendo 64 is definitely what started me as a gamer. And my earliest memory is playing multiplayer games with my family. So we would all huddle together. We had like the cool, like we had the black controller, we had like the purple controller, the green one, and like it was so cool to me. Like, I didn't have one yet, but I'm like, hey, if I want to play this right now, I'm going to grandma's house. We're gonna go play on Bill's Nintendo 64. And it's funny that we mentioned the showcase and that it's happening this Sunday.
Right.
I'm the guest today, and the big rumors that's been going around is GoldenEye, because GoldenEye is the first true multiplayer shooter game that I've ever played, and playing that with my family, that was amazing for me. Oh, give me a second. I'm sorry. I'll be one second. I'm sorry. I'll be right back.
No. You're good, man. So I get this. This is the kind of stuff that I had to go through the last couple of years. I'm finally at the point of my life where where my daughter can kind of hang out and do her own thing in her own room, or in the front room or whatnot. So what bro's going through with the kiddo, I 100% understand. It just is what it is, bro. You gotta take care of the kiddo. The show is somewhere in a different vicinity. It's not in the same importance cloud as your family. So do what you got to do. If you got to step away from the computer real quick and say, yo, get that knife out your hand or something like that. like do what you got to do, bro. But moving forward, so the 64 was really big for you, right? GoldenEye. Did you have any other big time games for that console that you were really loving?
We like Banjo-Kazooie. My cousin played that. I kind of liked it. He played Donkey Kong. Mario Party was like cool for me. But, that's something that I played personally, but something that I really loved playing that I couldn't get my hands on at that time because it was always sold out and I just couldn't get it was No Mercy 64 in WrestleMania 2000s. Like my family was always huge wrestling fans.
Yes,
Me,
sir.
I didn't really like wrestling to be quite honest with you. I always enjoyed the games more. So I started out playing the game. I didn't really know who these people were. I just saw like the awesome video packages on like the game, or they were awesome to me at the time. If you look back at it now, it's like, they did what they could do with that technology at that time. But like, No Mercy 64, WrestleMania 2000, and like my cousins, we would all make our characters and play season mode. Like, oh, me and my brother we're going for the tag team titles, and my cousin's the intercontinental title in season mode, like champion, and the other guys are WWF champ. So, No Mercy 64 and WrestleMania 2000 were like a staple to me, and especially like in our households in general. Like we loved wrestling so much, and so from the Nintendo era, and going forward to like PlayStation, Xbox, that's always stuck with us. So No Mercy 64, WrestleMania 2000, and GoldenEye, those games really stuck out for me in my life, and basically molded me into the gamer I am now. Oh man, you know what I would do for that right now, bro? Oh my God, nostalgia, Jesus.
Yeah, I gotta hit you upside the head with it, bro.
Oh man,
WrestleMania 2000 is one of the GOAT games for me, in my childhood at least. Right?
right.
I played the hell out of that game. I did the season mode over and over and over. Made characters. Had a whole like Royal Rumble with just created characters. Stuff like that. So like to create a character in that game, it took forever. like you're looking like people look at the 2K games and they're like, man, there's a lot of customization you could do. You could do that back then in WrestleMania too.
Yeah.
Dude. Like it was pretty dope.
And what my family used to do, like we would have like certain attires, and for some reason we always, and it sticks with me to this day, we always have an attire where we have a suit. To be on like some business type heel kind of thing. Like, we always have an attire that features a suit for some reason, and that's always carried over with me every single wrestling game, even up to now. Like even in WWE 2K22, I have a suit attire, like just because like we would have these promos, the suit on, the belt with us, and it was just so dope. But the customization back then was crazy. I mean, the models weren't as great, of course, but
oh no, not at all.
So dope. I miss it.
I mean, you could see you could see pointy areas of Stone Cold's head in the game. Like it looked good back then, but going back and looking at it now, it's kind of cringy. But you could but you could see where wrestling came from when you turn on a game like that. You know what I mean?
Right.
You can 100% see that kind of stuff. So that's pretty dope. So moving forward from that, so 64 was a big deal for you. What came next? What was, the next big thing for you?
What came next was PlayStation 1, of course, and then PS2. PS1, I more so played that at my cousin's house. I wasn't deep into PlayStation 1, honestly. Because around that time, PlayStation 2 just came out. When I got introduced to their PlayStation. So my cousin, we played SmackDown 1, SmackDown 2, Spider-Man back in the day on that console, which was very interesting. That game has certainly evolved from what it was back then. I remember you couldn't even touch the ground, if I'm not mistaken, back then. If you did, it was game over, but went from, Spider-Man, SmackDown 1, SmackDown 2, and Metal Gear Solid, other things like that. But, my cousin had it, and my other cousin, Bill, the one with the Nintendo 64, one day, we were at our grandma's house, it's the fall. He brings over a PlayStation 2. Ping pong? Okay. Yeah, ping pong right there. Let me turn it on for you. And so, he brings over the PS2, and the first couple games I remember playing was Grand Theft Auto 3
Oh, yeah.
and SmackDown just bring it. Now, Grand Theft Auto 3, and the only thing I really hated, sidebar, that for some reason, they never had a storage device. So I just need to take it back a little bit. So when we would play the game on Nintendo 64, we couldn't go backstage because we didn't have the damn memory card. And I used to always be wondering, like, what the hell is backstage like? But nobody ever got the damn memory card, so that was screwed up. So fast forward back to the PS2 era. Once again, we're without a memory card, but only because the PlayStation he had, his friend actually let him borrow it. That's a pretty damn good friend. The PS2 just comes out and you let your friend take it to his grandmother's house.
Out your damn mind. I would. No, you ain't taking my PlayStation somewhere else.
I live in Brooklyn, New York, right? So these are the early Brooklyn days. This is before gentrification. My grandmother's house, we're in Brownsville, first of all. So, and we had a couple beefs out there. We're children. I'm a child. I was like, what, 5, 6, 7 at those years. Mm-hmm. My cousins, they're all older than me. They had their little beefs, and it's like, yo, you must have a pretty damn good friend to let you borrow his brand new PS2 and take it right over to Brownsville in the heart of the ghetto at those years, where a whole bunch of crazy shit was happening. Crazy things still happen, of course. It's New York City, what do you expect? But in those years, crazy. I've had run-ins, and I'm like 6 or 7 years old with neighborhood people that they had beef with. But besides that,
that's crazy.
Pretty damn good friend to have like a PS2 and like, oh yeah, you can go ahead and borrow it. You can borrow this Grand Theft Auto 3 that just came out. It's the hottest game on the commercial with the, so. And he always skipped the damn cutscenes, but I'm a kid. That didn't really faze me at the time. Now that's a pet peeve of mine. I hate when people skip cutscenes. But, so that first, my hands is all messed up. I need somebody to draw from 8-Ball. As soon as I see that 3D model and I see the city, I'm like, yo, no, I must have this. Like, right. This is like this is the greatest thing I've ever seen. And it's like, gets in the car, he starts driving around the city, does what he wants when he wants. You get your guns. And big cheat code user back in the day, so we're like, oh yeah, we're not even progressing through the missions. We're like getting the jumping cars. So we're like going up the Callahan Bridge and jumping over the Gap and getting to Staunton Island and stuff. And like that was so dope for me.
Oh yes.
So Grand Theft Auto 3 on PS2 was like, that's what did it for me. Like that's what really glued me to the television. That game right there. And Rockstar, over the years, they've always proven to me like why, they are like, to me, the best game developers that ever truly existed. To be quite frank with you, a lot of people are upset about the direction they've gone in because honestly, they have been milking Grand Theft Auto 5. It's clear to see. And people are upset with the Grand Theft Auto trilogy, but I think people misconstrued what they were trying to do with that. But, Grand Theft Auto 3 is really what did it for me. And then from there, getting into the SmackDown series, playing God of War, playing a whole bunch of other PS2 games, like every month, like that really just made me a gamer. I started just dabbling in everything, getting the 007 games, even like movie games on PS2, like that's just that one Grand Theft Auto experience and that one PS2 experience is what really brought me into the gaming world. Like truly, Nintendo opened my eyes, but like PlayStation took me to another level. Honestly,
that's a great way to describe that. They opened your eyes, but PlayStation brought it to the next level. Because if I remember, like PlayStation came out and whatnot, and it felt very adult, kind of like Sega did back in the day. Sega made you feel like you were, not playing kids games. And then Sony came out and they did the same kind of, they kind of took that same route and made you feel like, yo, bro, like these games are for the people that know what the hell they doing. This ain't just for somebody to side scroll and run around and do a bunch of what felt like kiddie things, even though not all Nintendo games were, but PlayStation really put its foot down and really made you feel like, hey, like there is an entire adult collection for you to go through.
Oh, most definitely. And the crazy thing is, I certainly wasn't old enough at that time. But my parents are from an older generation to where they didn't really get the this game should only be played by a certain age range. It was just right. Like, my kid wants this game. Okay, thank God, because I have a friend who hasn't I have a friend on Xbox who's never played Grand Theft Auto until he actually became an adult.
Ooh.
So he kind of missed out on the whole, like he missed out on everything, and he hasn't been able to play a rated, like a mature game. The only rated M game that he had, being underage, was Gears of War 1. We'll dive further into that, I guess, as the questions roll along. But yeah, that's another story. So I definitely shouldn't have been playing those games, but I'm so glad I did.
What I can tell so far from this interview is Gears of War lives in your head rent free.
Oh, no doubt, absolutely. that game did things to me. Now, before we get into Gears, my first love, honestly, multiplayer love. It's gonna sound I don't know how people feel about this now, but it was Rainbow Six Vegas. I'll dive into that, I guess, when a certain question pops up, or we could dive into whatever you want, but. Yeah, the PlayStation 2 was kind of what truly set me off in the direction that I'm in now.
I feel like we'll run into that here shortly. So moving forward, all right, so did you go from PlayStation 2 directly to Xbox, or was there like a lull in between?
It was PlayStation 2 directly to Xbox. Reason being, that's when the PS3, the Xbox 360 launched first.
Right.
I was an avid PlayStation guy, honestly. You couldn't get me to look at Xbox whatsoever. Me at that age, before 12 years old, I was kind of similar to the ponies you see today on Twitter.
Oh,
if it's not PlayStation,
oh, good God.
It doesn't matter. If a game wasn't made by PlayStation, then it's nothing, Oh, it's on PlayStation and Xbox? Oh, well, the Xbox version looks terrible. PlayStation's better. Me not knowing what the hell I'm talking about. Me not showing Xbox any attention. Typical shit that they would do, You would sit there and you want your the box that you invest your money into. If you have the mind of a child, of course, which I was at the time, you're like, oh yeah, my box is this, my box is that. Because as an adult now, it's like, whatever, it does this is what it does. But like at that time, I invested into the right console, and my console does this, my console does that. And
yeah, it's like that verify kind of thing.
Exactly. It's like you want that, you want to feel secure in what you've purchased at that time. And like I wasn't trying to share the love with other consoles. I'm like, no, this is it. This is it. That's it. Nothing else. Xbox, who's that? Get out of here. Because my cousin and my brother, they both had an Xbox, the original one. And I played it. Me being the silly child I am.
The early days pony that you were.
Yes. And I was like, I don't like it. It's big. But, I was kind of jealous. Like, how the hell could they could store music on it. And they're playing like WWF Raw, WWF Raw 2, and other games. And you could put a custom soundtrack in. I was jealous. I never really said nothing about it, but I was always jealous of like features that Xbox had, and Xbox utilized a hard drive first, and Xbox Live, was first, and I would kind of like try to belittle those things. Like, oh yeah, they're nothing. I'm still playing my PS2, whatnot. Oh, PlayStation Online just came out. Take that. And it's like we all know
right.
PlayStation Online wasn't really.
It was ass.
Exactly.
like let's be 100. It was ass. I had the adapter piece that went to the back to my PS2 to be able to plug your Ethernet cord in it and play online. It was terrible.
It was. It really was. And me, I had the fat PS2 and I had the slim one, like a little notebook. So I was that kind of PlayStation guy. Like, I would buy every iteration of the console. And, me and all my friends had PlayStation 2. So it was like, Xbox who? No, me and my friends, we were all playing PlayStation, guy. Get out of here. Go home. We don't care.
Damn.
That's how it was.
Yeah, and, you ain't lying, though.
And 2005, 2006 came, and God bless you. So I was poverty stricken, honestly. Like, when you're a kid, you don't really know certain things. You're alive, you're going to school, you're enjoying what you have.
Ignorance is bliss when you're a kid.
Exactly. So around junior high school, or whatever year it is, I got my first computer in the home. And this one I actually started doing research. And instead of just going off of word of mouth and saying, oh, this is better, and not knowing what the hell I'm actually talking about, I'm researching now. So I'm in research mode. I'm seeing, what this console does. What games are out. My brother calls me one day. He's like, oh, Dre, I got an Xbox 360, da da da. I'm like, man, listen, I don't care. I'm about to get the PS3. PS3 is about to be popping, bro. Like, I don't care nothing about what you're talking about. So,
Oh man, I'm already having an idea where this is going because you said poverty-stricken. PS3 is coming out. I'm just gonna take a shot in the dark and guess that you seen that price and you took a step back.
actually, no. Me being an avid price, at that time as a child, I did not know the importance of how much that price meant, especially as an adult. Because nowadays, I'm not finna buy something that's $600 and it's lacking in certain things, and it didn't make sense that price point. But at that time, I didn't care. I'm like, what? I'm young, slightly spoiled with the gaming hobby, but I was a good kid. Always got good grades, graduated on top of my class, so it was kind of rewarded. So. They were gonna do it regardless. Like, oh yeah, you can have the PlayStation 3. But
Yeah, keep them grades up and you can, keep getting stuff, right?
exactly, yep. Good grades, not troubled in school, not misbehaving, got into fights. Everybody know me for that in school. Everybody know I could, I give it up when it's needed, But so there was a time where the 360 was out, PS3 was out, and certain games, they were only next gen on the 360, and the PS3 versions were getting delayed. And so when that started to happen, my brother kept bragging to me like, "Yo, Dre, like, yo, you should really look into it. Like, this 360 is really fire, bro." Da da da. And he wasn't even playing Xbox Live at the time. He just had the console, and he loved rubbing shit in my face at that time. Like,
He was
oh,
just
yeah,
playing
like,
offline and killing it.
exactly. Those years, absolutely. Like, I'm the one who actually got everybody into online gaming in my family. I started off that little trend for us, although it was worldwide at that time. But, having little knowledge of what it was at that time, we were always scared. Like, damn, like if we plug it in, are they gonna charge us every time we go online or something? Like, we didn't really know too much at that time, so that was the conception at the time.
Back in that time, you had to buy a piece for the 360 to even go online if you didn't have an Ethernet cord plugged directly into it.
Yep, I remember that little antenna joint put right in the back with a little grape thing with the. Yep, I remember.
Yeah, and it had a little clipping spot on the back of it too to clip it in and keep it.
Right next to the it was on the back right side, if I'm not mistaken. We've come so far, thankfully.
Yeah, for sure.
When I started to realize, like, oh, these next gen games are coming out on 360, but PS3 aren't getting them. Like, there was a lot of things Xbox had going for them, the next gen games are running well. I mean, Red Ring of Death was a whole nother thing that it didn't alarm me. I didn't really hear too much about it from my research at the time because I wasn't deep in the trenches like I am now. But the price point was good at that point. My brother had it. My favorite games like that I researched would come out of next gen. SmackDown vs. Raw 2007. They only had the next gen version. Saints Row was coming out on Xbox, and that was like the coolest thing to me because looking at Grand Theft Auto San Andreas, then you have a game like Saints Row, like how it looked graphically coming out and stuff. I was like, yo, this looks lit. And PlayStation, they didn't have that at the time. Saints Row was Xbox exclusive at that time. BioShock was a 360 exclusive. Gears of War was like coming out. So I'm like, yo, you know what? Let me just bite the bullet. Let's see what happens. Let's see if I actually like it. I'm still going to get a PS3, no doubt. I want my library to come with me. I got all these games for PS2 and PlayStation. Like, I got boxes of PlayStation games stacked up. Like, my dad's over here right now. He can tell you how much I invested in PlayStation.
Man, but you bit the apple. But you bit the apple.
I sure did. Once I did that, bro, I even bought new PS2 games that were still coming out. Although I had a 360, just because I tried to stick with them. And by the time I touched that 360, that was it. Once I saw those graphics, once I've played the games, and that the way the controller felt was just mind blowing to me. I'm like, yo,
This is a big step
crazy.
up.
Huge step up. That left stick being in that corner and the D-pad position where it is and the triggers and the bumpers, it was perfection to me. And like my hands, like I've always been like a bigger dude, so it's like my hands at that time was like, yo, this feels amazing in my hands, and it's wireless. Why not? So playing my games offline for a little bit because I'm still a little scared to get my feet wet online because I didn't know what to expect. So playing my SmackDown versus Raw, playing my NBA 2K7, playing Rainbow Six Vegas or whatever. I had Splinter Cell Double Agent. Game was hard as hell to me. At first, I had to look something up online. And then once I just got into the Xbox brand, like, in that fashion, I just didn't have the desire to buy a PlayStation 3 anymore.
Damn.
My friends.
Did you ever even get a PS3?
No, I didn't see the value in it.
Dang, he walked away.
I walked away completely. And plus, all my friends, they stuck with PlayStation, so I was going to my friend's house frequently. So every PlayStation games they had, I played it and I beat it with them. But, at that time, it wasn't doing it for me. So they stuck with PlayStation faithfully.
Just imagine you going over there looking, playing some PlayStation and be like, y'all still ain't got shit. I still got all I still got it all right now.
Man, in those years, bro, Jesus, right? And then they used to always be like, "Oh, why you got Xbox for, Dre? Why'd you do that?" Da, 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 da. I'm like, well, you guys got PlayStation. We all don't need a PlayStation. I'm always at you guys' houses anyway, so shit. I'll just come over here and beat the games you guys have and keep on, go on by my way. And the biggest misconception people have about PlayStation gamers is, oh yeah, they're PlayStation gamers because they're exclusives. I can tell you right now, everybody I've met in my life, they didn't even. The main games they played weren't exclusives, and that was the least thing they cared about was those PlayStation exclusives. To be honest with you, the exclusives that people really cared about, especially in those years, were truly the Xbox exclusives. And then when they became multi-plats like Mass Effect and BioShock, then people forgot, that was Xbox exclusive at one point.
Right.
But I don't want to ruffle any feathers because my mentions are going to look crazy. But so. I've always had PlayStation experience. All of them are hardcore Xbox and like solely Xbox now. I just don't like a lot of things that they've done over the years. They have produced and made great games. I'm not gonna hold that. I'm not gonna say they didn't, but I just don't. I don't feel. They don't appeal to me the way they used to. Back in the day, I feel like there's a lot of hype. And hype is cool and all, but as long as the hype actually translates to what you feel when you play certain things and when you experience a console in full. And I feel like once I transitioned to Xbox, they've provided me experiences that I never thought that I would actually enjoy and love about gaming. Like my first Xbox Live account becoming Nitrous Andre, and then on Rainbow Six Vegas. Like Rainbow Six Vegas was like my online cherry popper, you could say, I guess. That's that's what popped my cherry online was Rainbow Six Vegas. And this was like when game battles was the shit. And like, I was always good at games, and then like when it translated to me gaming online and still consistently being good outside of my neighborhood, and I'm like, you know what? This is pretty fucking dope. So I'm sorry. I'll be right back.
No, you good, bro. So from what I'm hearing from him, he big PlayStation fan, ended up going over to Xbox, but it wasn't exactly that PlayStation was bad. It's just that Xbox had a lot of stuff going on. I feel like Stankma, you're kind of in that area, if I'm going to throw your name out there, where you're just kind of looking for a good reason to even hop over. That reason hasn't popped off yet, so you're just kind of sticking around in the area that you're comfortable with right now. Ain't nothing wrong with that. Do what you got to do. But but for some people like Dre, as you see, he really took a different turn a little bit earlier. But moving along. So 360 was it for you. That kind of sewed up that generation. Did you move around to other things as, you know, other generations started to come out? So I'm saying like PS4. Did you end up getting a PS4 or a Nintendo Wii or anything else other than, you know, just Xbox? 'Cause I assume you got the Xbox One.
Oh, most definitely. That was regardless of the negative backlash and feedback. I got the Xbox One at launch. Ever since my 360, I've purchased every Xbox at launch and every iteration of the console at launch. Now I've had a Nintendo Wii. I didn't really like the Wii that much. It wasn't my thing. I have a Nintendo Switch, but it's just sitting there. Honestly, I don't.
Mine is.
I don't really-
I have two of them. They're both sitting just back here, just sitting there. They've been there for months. They haven't done anything, and it's not that I don't like the Switch. It's just I have so many other games to play on other consoles that I just don't see the need to run and grab something that's clearly lower quality and try to play any game. And I've never been, I mean, other than like some of the Mario games and a few other like first party things, I've never been like an avid like lover of Kirby or Pokemon and stuff like that. So it just wasn't something that I needed to have. So I never really just got into Nintendo like that, other than when I was younger. I mean, when I feel like everybody can say when they were young, you know, Nintendo was the thing, you know. But if you were still a hardcore gamer all the way up until now, and you don't like still currently play the hell out of your Switch, you probably moved on to something a little bit stronger. PC, Xbox, PlayStation. Hell, I mean, like, even Stadia is pretty interesting. I wouldn't say any of those are bigger than Nintendo, because Nintendo's number one, right? They're number one, flat out. Right. But for me particularly, it's just like, man, if you want to play games that are constantly getting updated, look better, you know, each time something gets made for it, you're not sitting on Nintendo waiting for that, because it's not coming. Nintendo usually likes to stick around and they're not the biggest fidelity people or frame rate and stuff like that. They're just not. They're more or less like, hey, you're on our platform, you know what you like because you've seen it for years. We're gonna keep popping off this stuff, and every once in a while we'll throw in something new. Where it seems like PlayStation and Xbox and some other companies are like, yo, we want to throw out a bunch of stuff new and then maybe bring some other stuff back.
Right. And, you know, this might seem very disrespectful. I have a Switch.
Lord, here we go.
I do. Do you know what my Switch is? And this is no pun intended. My Switch is in my kid's toy chest. And at this very moment,
oh no,
Switch is right here. At this very moment, I was looking for it, and it's right here.
Oh man, what the hell are you doing over there, bro?
So, yeah, unfortunately, so my Switch just sits in the toy chest, and now my webcam twisted sideways. I don't know how to turn it back.
Oh, you good, bro? Take your time. I feel like that was pretty funny though. Just you showing off having that in the toy chest, bro. What you doing?
Hey man, that's where it lives these days, bro. Well, I think I'm stuck sideways for now, so I'm gonna have a sideways podcast.
the disrespect though that you doing to that Nintendo is astronomical.
It's not intentional, bro. It's just having to be there, bro. You know, I mean, it sits calmly in the shopping cart over there, his little toy shopping cart, but it just happened to be on the floor now, so.
Hey, Stankma in the chat said something pretty dope. He said Nintendo tells Moz like people, we're gonna put some stuff out. If you don't like it, move on.
Pretty much. You know? Like Nintendo knows like who they cater to, and that's it. You know, they're not really worried about. To me, the way it seems now is like Nintendo's not really worried about. Oh, these guys play Grand Theft Auto 6 and 5 and Red Dead Redemption. We want that on our console. We'll offer something on our console, but our bread and butter is Mario, Pokemon games, and Zelda, and what, Smash Bros. We'll do
Which
fun
is
with
more
that.
Mario kind of stuff, because that's where it came. I mean, I don't want to say that's where it came from, but that game wouldn't have been the same without him.
Exactly. So Nintendo has their bread and butter, and you know what? If you don't, get with it. That's cool. Online sucks, although it's 2022, but you know,
Speaking of
whatever.
sucking,
Games.
let's go on ahead and move on to. Let's actually move back to like Xbox One launch. How did you feel about the launch, and then a few years down the line? How did you feel?
The launch. To be quite frank, people had Xbox gave people a terrible taste in their mouth before the Xbox One launch, and honestly, I don't think they deserved as much of it as people gave it. I'm gonna put it that way.
You're gonna have
You
to
know,
describe this one.
so to me, Xbox was always the anti-hero. People love to have a reason to hate Xbox. If they can hate Xbox, they'll use something small against them. Now, Xbox One, the launch, like when they first announced that console, you know, me at a certain age, you know, I'm like, hey, if I'm investing money into this console, the Xbox 360 showed me throughout the years, like, we're doing more than just games now. Now we're redesigning OSs. Now we're like involving entertainment. We're bringing your friends and social together even more now. We have watch parties on Netflix, and we're doing so many things, introducing Connect. So when I initially saw the Xbox One, um, I was always online. So that didn't really that whole having to be online stuff. It didn't bother me as much because I read more of the details to it. But they left they left a bad taste in people's mouths, and a lot of things that they said were going to happen at the launch of Xbox One didn't happen at all. And so when the Xbox One launched, people were still running with, "Oh yeah, it's online only, and you can't play any used games on that console, and this, that, and the third." But when the console launched, they actually did a 360 and went back on a lot of the things that they said that was going to happen with Xbox One. The one thing that I would say that I didn't think was fair for gamers was just forcing them to get the Connect 2.0. Although I saw their vision, like I saw the vision,
100%.
I kind of saw what they wanted to do. Xbox, they were ahead of their time, in that year, because a lot of stuff that they have now, the Connect is going, oh, I don't want people in my privacy, but your iPhone has Face ID on it to unlock
Right.
every single phone you have. Oh, they're listening and they're doing this. Hey Siri, that's your best friend now. Alexa, you can't live without Alexa. So Xbox was way ahead of their time, and I felt like there was a large uproar for no reason. To be quite frank, I just felt like a lot of it was a pick on Xbox, and they couldn't see the vision at the time. They wanted things to remain, how it used to be and more traditional like, and they just weren't ready for that change. So when Xbox did they took back a lot of things in their word, but they kept Connect. I was okay with it. I was like, what, I'm still gonna buy the Xbox. They
That's
were
how
good
I
to me
felt.
during
Yep.
360. They were really good to me during 360. I feel like they're still gonna be good to me. And then, the Xbox One came out. The controller had the IR blaster in it, and I thought it was pretty cool. You could their Connect was there, so like when I set up my Connect, it was like so dope. Like I was excited, but I was just shocked at how the Xbox One really wasn't moving units. The midnight launch, I've never been to a midnight launch that scarce in my life for a new console. So it was kind of shocking for me. Like it wasn't that shocking because I come from areas where Xbox really isn't popular, but it was like 6 people there. And so I'm like, what the
Yikes.
fuck? Right. But me
You got into
personally, I
line and
enjoyed
knew
it.
you were getting one.
Right. I was like, oh yeah, I'm definitely getting. I had the day one edition and everything. The Connect 2.0, I absolutely loved it. The whole biometric sign in was so badass. And I walk in the room, the console's like, hello, Nitrous Andre. I'm like, yo, this is fucking dope.
Yep.
And like Connect 2.0, like with Dance Central, like I enjoyed shit like that. And whenever I showed off the technology from Connect 1.0, like everybody was like, oh, this is so cool. Da, 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 da. But, a lot of other people didn't really care for it. But we see how things change with technology. And the launch lineup was actually pretty strong. So the Xbox One started off pretty strong. They just had a lot of negative press and a lot of things that were announced during the initial reveal. People still believe were was true, but everything was contrary to what was there. My only issue was the OS at the time was a step back from 360. Like they made shit complicated, like joining a party with your friends and the game invite system. So and then they came out with a new preview program, and I've been a part of that since the Xbox One version launched. But like initially, I didn't really care about the negative feedback because I felt like the negative feedback that people had about the Xbox One announcements, it wouldn't affect me. So that's how I thought about it at that time. Like now, now I'm more conscious of like what gamers as a whole want. But at that time, it didn't really like hit me. Like I'm like I don't care. Like, if they can't play online, what's the point? Because who doesn't want their console connected to online? Who doesn't want updates for their games? Who doesn't want
Right.
to download expansions? Who doesn't want, And I was always a big guy to like, sports games especially. Like they always receive constant updates. So without that, it's like, what are you really playing for? Like the biggest games have multiplayer, and now it's like, what's the biggest games out now? Like what free to play multiplayer games, which you need and constant internet connection or internet in general because you can't play without it. So it's like, I really didn't see what the uproar was. I understand some of it, but I felt like it was dragged out. And my least favorite part of the Xbox One era was probably the drought that we had,
Speed.
mid generation. There was a lot of great exclusives. I don't know why people act like Xbox didn't come out swinging with exclusives, and then it dried up. But we
Yeah,
tend
they
to
actually,
ignore that
from what I thought, they had more exclusives than PlayStation
it
when they
did.
when they first came out. But the thing is they just couldn't keep up.
Exactly. And then towards the end of the PlayStation 4 generation, that's when the exclusives started to happen. So people are acting like, Xbox was just terrible the entire time. And it's like, internally, when you're going through that many things in the company, but you're still keeping a portion of your fan base happy, it was clear to see what the hell was happening. Don Matrick fucked up, and then Phil Spencer took over. Like certain things, you can't just expect it to flip like a light switch overnight. So Xbox One had its struggles with a certain audience. Me, not so much. But I've been there, from the mud, like from the beginning of the Xbox One era up until now to like their golden years with the 360. Like I've witnessed it all. And one thing I do commend about Xbox is throughout the years, they always grow. They always change. They always evolve. You always see their evolution.
Yeah.
If they fuck up somewhere, they listen to their fans and they evolve. They go from there. Oh, Xbox has no games. Well, say that to the 300 plus games I own in my library outside of Game Pass. You can speak to them about that. 'Cause I have games, and now how many studios do they have? More studios than you can count on how many hands. You know, it's just too many expectations. Once again, just to justify a biased opinion, basically, just to make Xbox look bad. But for the Xbox One generation, I enjoyed it. Most of it, honestly, to be honest, and I just feel like a lot of it was just miscommunication, really. And once a miscommunication happens, you have the journalists writing about it, and you have articles about it. That's everybody's going to have an opinion based off of that instead of actual experience.
I could understand that. I mean, I had a pretty good time during the 360 if I'm just talking about like with my third party games and some of the stuff the Xbox One could do. But on a first party standpoint, it was embarrassing. I ain't gonna lie, it was pretty damn embarrassing. Just like, I mean, we had a game that we all thought was coming straight up get canceled in development.
True.
And that was like the
Hellbound?
straw that broke the camel's back, kind of. You know what I'm saying? Because
Yeah.
because everybody kept saying, it's coming, it's coming, it's coming. I
Right.
mean, kind of similar to now. It's coming, it's coming, it's coming. But the thing is it stopped, and then all of a sudden you're like, well, what's now? And they're like, well, I don't know either. So as you were saying, the communication was horrible.
Right.
So yeah,
And
go ahead.
since those times, Xbox has gotten extremely better with communication. I mean, at least they communicate. You know,
Mm.
can't say that for everybody. And we know who doesn't communicate. It's like, hey, we
All
have a state of
right.
play. That's it. Then you're left in the fucking dust for 5 months, and you're taking news from MBG about what the fuck is coming, and he doesn't know shit. Anyways, but yeah, at least they're better with communication now. And the whole scale bond thing, that was disappointing because that looked cool as shit. And then like certain games are getting delayed, but what I don't run a C level. I don't run a company at a C level. They're trying the best they can, and they are doing the best they can. I just feel like now, I feel like they're kind of tricking us in a way. There's a reason why they announced that Starfield was delayed a month ahead of time. I'm pretty sure they have a contingency plan, and I feel like what we're going to see Sunday is really going to just blow us away, and it's going to make us forget, like, oh, Starfield's delayed, although it's been in development for this long. I really feel like they have an ace up their sleeves, and the gaming community as a whole isn't ready for it.
Yeah, I mean, the way that they talk, you're right. It does seem like they got something up their sleeve. You know what I mean? Like they have to know, which Phil Spencer came out and pretty much said it on Twitter, like, hey, we apologize for the way that this happened. This sucks. We understand. But, like, to say this just a couple weeks before the actual showcase, to me, it's kind of like, yo, somebody knew that this needed to be delayed. And I understand that there's people speculating about all the pictures of them smiling, and they must have heard this news afterwards. I'm starting to lean a little bit away from that and think, maybe they were smiling in this picture and stuff like that, more or less because they knew that they had to delay it, but they have something for that ass.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, oh man, this sucks, but you have no idea what door we're about to open.
Exactly.
So, I mean, this could all just be all talk from me, but I mean, I'm still excited. I was pissed off when they announced that it was delayed. I was mad. I was literally on Twitter, and I told people, yo, like, this isn't cool. I'm tired of hearing just keep waiting. We've heard that for like a long time now, for years. But that doesn't take away from my excitement for this next show coming out. Because if they did this, they gotta be doing something else to mitigate.
Most definitely. Of course. With all those damn studios, they better shit.
Right.
Because I'll be damn, like, because the thing is, we have so many studios. Well, Xbox, let me not say we. I don't own a share of Microsoft yet. I did, but I sold it. But, they have so many studios, like, and there's just a lot. They're really holding back from us, and I know for a fact they see all the shit we tweet about. Aaron Greenberg is pretty up to date and he's pretty hip on what's what on there. I've been following him around a couple social media channels like Instagram and stuff like that. Like, these guys are ready to like drop a fucking nuke and walk away. Like, well, told you so. Thank you, and then like go about their day.
Yeah, that mic drop moment, right?
Exactly. And Xbox is really good with that. And I felt like that was very strategic of them, actually, to announce the delay the way they did. Way better than saying, "Hey, we have gameplay today, but it's not coming out this year." That would have been like shitty as hell to do it during the showcase. Right. So I'm like, what? They announced it so far ahead for a reason. Because you know what? We're gonna give gamers time to get over it. And then we're gonna slap them in the mouth for something that tastes amazing. We're gonna give them like, yeah, we have this 5-course meal here. This is like the steakhouse. Well, let's try this fusion steakhouse. Let's hit them with that. They missed the reservation this time, but we're gonna hit them with this one, and let's see how they feel about that. And then right after that, then they're gonna get the next one, then the next one, then the next one. So, I'm extremely confident about like what's going to happen, what's going to be shown. And me, like I said earlier, I'm a huge Gears guy, and I know for a fact, I don't have any insiders telling me things. I don't have, inside connects at Microsoft. I'm not talking to Aaron Greenberg secretly or Phil secretly. It's easy to put two and two together in this, in the gaming world, or just to follow hints, follow clues. So I know for a fact Gears is going to have some shit that's going to blow our minds. And we all know the coalitions are masters of UE5. So I'm just like really excited, to see what the hell they're going to do. And especially if they're coming out with a new IP, just to see the direction they're going with that. That's been a heavy rumor for some time now, and this is the perfect time to show off, what they've been hiding from us besides Gears. Because, man, I tweeted this earlier. It's a wonderful time to be an Xbox gamer. So
it really is. But to go to the chat real quick, Stankma said a few things I wanted to just kind of label. Might touch your heart a little bit on a couple of them, but he said, yo, Rainbow Six Vegas was fire. Miss that game. And then he also said the 360 flat out was fire. And that his Switch is dead until Pokemon. Well, didn't they just come out with a Pokemon? I thought, like, are you not playing Arceus right now? I thought Arceus was out. Wasn't there another Pokemon game that came out? I'm not sure.
I think so, because my girlfriend's son just graduated something, and I was looking at Pokemon. I'm like, does he know about Pokemon? I figured children like Pokemon, so I started looking it up. And I just started seeing this Arca something. I'm like, oh. Okay, they came out with that. It's definitely a new Pokemon. And then they announced another new one, but I'm out of the loop with that stuff.
So, if you didn't know, one of the gentlemen that's in the chat, Stankma, was saying to me previously that he's been playing the hell out of his PS5. Right? He really enjoys PlayStation. He likes Xbox. I mean, he's just a gamer flat out. But he's waiting to buy his Xbox Series until a game that's really intriguing comes out, which there's going to be several, right? Right. But he went on his head and flat out said, "I'm not even going to front. From a social perspective, Xbox Live has always been better than PSN, light years ahead."
I wholeheartedly agree with that. Xbox has been ahead of the curve for a while, especially in regards to like Xbox Live and just social interactions with their gaming platform in general. Didn't they just get the feature to change their name how many years ago?
I'm not mistaken. I have no idea how long it's been since that particular.
Like, that's relatively new, being able to change your name on there. So, but. Yeah, Xbox Live is truly on another level. And I feel like right now, he has every right to feel that way about like having something enticing, like have a really great reason to have a game that's truly showing off the power of the Series X. And honestly, I feel like that for both consoles, honestly, this generation. I got an Xbox Series X because it's a no-brainer for me. More than it just being the most powerful console, but that's the games, that's what the games are that I love. And the features caught me right away. The quick resume is like the best thing that's ever happened to me as a gamer. Like, I came home like a week ago and I booted up some game I haven't played since last year, and I was still at the same location. I'm like, what the fuck? I done unplugged the goddamn Xbox, took it over to my girlfriend's house, came back, reinstalled it, redid my wiring, and the shit is still playing. Like, that is so amazing to me. But it's a double back. Like, I do feel like this generation is lacking that one game that really makes both consoles stand out to truly say, like, yo, this is what next gen really is. Like,
like you gotta buy this because this is just like, I mean, I understand Forza was like a must play game, but at the end of the day, it's still a driving game. Like, let's be real.
Exactly. It's a racing game.
I mean, racing games are still, they're cool, but in a way, they're kind of, I personally think this, I don't know if this is true, but I still think they're kind of niche. Not everyone's going to love a racing game, but a lot of people want a good new story to go through.
Right.
Something that brings the features out of the system. I always bring this up. Borderlands 3 is one of the games that made me look at my Series X and be like, bro, you good? because that game was so damn powerful that sometimes it'd shut off the whole damn console.
Man.
You'd just be sitting there playing, you'd do like a power move, and there'd be so much effects going on at the same time that the Xbox would be like, bruh, I'm out. and just cut off. So, I mean, I'm not looking to get a game to cut off my Series X, but I want to be like I was with Borderlands 3, being like, man, this is being pushed to the limit right now.
Man. And, I agree with you completely because it's like, and it just sucks that this console launch, for both sides, for every side of the next generation or current generation now, it just had to happen during like the COVID era. That COVID era really did a lot, in regards to. And I'm sorry, hold on, give me 1 second. I'm so sorry.
Oh, you're good.
Yeah, let me just set this laptop down. Sorry about that. Hold on.
Nah, he's good. Got a family. You got to do what you got to do. But, I mean, there's a really interesting thing Dragonheart Yobi said on my stream just a couple of days ago when I was playing Mass Effect 2. He said that he feels personally like the Xbox Series X and PS5 should have been pushed out to come out at the end of this year. I'm not exactly sure how I feel about that, but I could see his point because a lot of games haven't really came out and been that game to push the system to the next level. So I'm not sure if you caught everything that I just said, Dre, but what I said was I was doing a stream playing Mass Effect 2, right? And I was just talking to the chat as they were rolling in and out. And Dragonheart Yobi, I'm not sure if you know who that is. Really dope dude, though. In the gaming community, he loves Mass Effect. So I assumed that he showed up to my stream that day because I was playing that game. But he said, while we were just... Because I had a chat of a bunch of other people that I was talking to while I was streaming. So the stream could hear like all of our conversations and whatnot. And he heard us talking about the Series X and the PS5 and games and whatnot. And he came on and he was like, yo, I think both of these consoles shouldn't have came out until the end of this year that we're currently in. Because he doesn't feel like there's been... keep in mind, he loves playing on his Xbox. And I'm not even sure if he has a PlayStation or whatnot. But I do know that he enjoys the features that are out and he likes the Series X, but the lack there is of games on PlayStation and Xbox. Oh, snap. He fell off the party. No, you're good. All right, so the what I was trying to say is he was saying the lack thereof of PlayStation and Xbox games to push the consoles to be the best that they could be are just not available. Yeah, like Miles Morales is pretty dope. The Medium was cool. Let's bring up a few other games. A big one, Horizon Forbidden West and Halo Infinite and all that stuff coming out now. Yeah, that's cool. But I think what he was trying to say is you could have bundled all of that stuff and had it ready for launch on these systems if they would have came out at the end of this year instead of feeling so staggered and, oh, we don't have any content. We don't have anything to talk about. They could have set themselves up better in hindsight if they would have came out this year instead of coming out, what was it, like a year and a half ago.
Right. Honestly, I agree with that. Completely. It's just that the hype that was given pre-COVID, for every large console maker, Sony and Microsoft, it basically put them in a mode to where we have to get this product out regardless of what's happening in the world. We've announced it, and the last thing that we want to delay is a console. And I feel like as a gaming community during COVID, regardless if the software is available, we want to hype up this new hardware, and we have to have it in their homes, although supply is limited and whatnot. I felt like it had to do more with like a corporate, money kind of thing rather than like what should actually happen. Because honestly, I would have had no issues still playing like what Xbox One, PS4 generation. I mean, everything is basically cross gen, and we're just now starting to get away from like cross gen games. Like it seems like the cross gen is ending like what 2023 or the end of this year. So it's like they could have, I kind of wish they did do that.
But to kind of push back on that thought just a little bit, like there's always been cross-gen games as a new generation of console would come out. There has been some mishandlings with cross-generation games. Like if you think about the PS2, Xbox, and GameCube generation moving into the 360, PS3, and Wii, like a good example is like those NCAA football games back in those days. You played, that game on the original Xbox. It was better than the 360 version, which was insane to me.
Right.
Like how do you have an older generation console that has a better game and it's supposed to be the exact same game as the newer generation console? Crazy to me. But anyways, moving on. So you think that that's actually a good idea if they would have pushed it back a little bit longer?
Definitely, because I feel like even on the Xbox side, because like we've seen it the time, we've seen games launch where the Xbox Series X, of course, it has the dominant hardware specs over what PlayStation has to offer, and we've seen a couple games launch throughout the generation multiple times to where, oh well, this is a brand new, this is like a brand new thing for developers to get used to compared to how games were developed for the previous generation. So you see the game launch kind of buggy or like frame drops here and there on the Xbox Series, and when you get the PlayStation game, oh, the game is flourishing in performance. And then after they take to actually get more familiar with the dev kits of the Xbox Series consoles, then we start to see, changes in those numbers and the Xbox starting to perform better. And it's like, these tools were so new to these devs and all the tools weren't available at launch. I definitely feel like, if they did wait a little longer, we would see a lot more like, cross-gen games. Like you would see a true difference between like between the Xbox One version versus the Series version. Besides just FPS or just a little addition of ray tracing that's available now. I feel like more of those things that are promised for these next generation consoles would have been readily available for more titles and more games. And there always has been that transition period of like cross gen and next gen only. And I feel like games that have all right, and I just feel like games that have been released and labeled next gen only, it's only possible on these next gen consoles. I feel like they just said that to market it that way, and like Sony, Sony did basically like, oh yeah, this is only possible on PlayStation 5. A couple months later, hey, we're able to bring it to PS4. Hey, we're supporting PS4 a little bit longer because of production issues, and it's like, yo, like instead of you guys just marketing it that way, like if you guys actually both companies gave everything more time, then it wouldn't be like that. Because the transitions from last generation, like when we went from PS2 to 360 games, at a year or two later, you could truly tell like the big difference. Like graphically, you saw it, but like then it became the gameplay and things like that. And I feel like now it's taking longer. Like then these consoles launched at what? Was it the end of 2021?
No, it was the end of 2020.
And it's like now we're middle 2022, and I feel like we still haven't truly seen what these consoles are capable of. There's not a single game right now running off the Xbox Velocity architecture whatsoever, and it's like, okay, so what is going to be that game? It's going to run off of that Velocity architecture. What's that game going to look like? And being that we're 2 years basically into this console generation, it's like if they delayed it a little bit longer, they would have had more polish. But like I said, I feel like to get those consoles out was more of a business thing rather than an actual smart thing, for gamers at least to actually experience what these next-gen consoles could do. Because I feel like the biggest talking point for the next-gen consoles in general for both sides is increased frame rates and like console gamers finally seeing what PC gamers are saying from 30 FPS for the jump to 60. Because like the transition I'm used to is like seeing a game like, oh, this game looks so dope on PS2. Oh, this shit look crazy on 360. They're going from 360 to Xbox One. Wow, I can't believe they went that far. Now it's like, it looks kind of similar, but these frames are fucking dope. It's like I
Right.
felt like the next generation transition was always more. And I feel like it's more now. I just feel like it's just not as more as I'm accustomed to growing up in gaming. Right? We went from Nintendo 64, PlayStation 1, PS2, 360, Xbox One series, or like PlayStation 1, 2, 3, 4, etc. And I feel like between each of those generations, the leap was clear. It was clear as day. Now the clearest you're going to see if you have a TV that's even capable of, showing you these things is frame rates per second and loading times and small features that each console has. PlayStation with their dual sense, Xbox with quick resume and other things like that. So I definitely, agree with if they dare wait to release it this year with more games that are more geared towards what these hardwares are capable of, then it would have been awesome. But it is what it is at this point.
That's a fact. All right, well, let's move forward into the show because, like I said, I can get on tangents, and that was one of them. That was one of those
Right.
kind of moments right there. But I kind of want to go into the content creation side a little bit, and just I'm curious as to what got you into content creation, and then also what kind of slowed you down from it. I mean, I could think of a few obvious things that slowed you down from it, but I want to hear it out the horse's mouth.
So what kind of got me into content creation, honestly, was I felt like there's a lot of channels out there, honestly, a lot of channels covering gaming, and I feel like what I really wanted to do was I wanted to bring a show out that featured my friends and like I feel like the conversations we have are like out of this world. Like it's just some bonkers kind of shit that you know. One minute we're talking about gaming, next minute we're cursing each other the hell out. Like fuck you, I don't like you, da da da. Or family the next 5 minutes, and then next thing you know, we're competing against each other in video games. Like back in the day, way before party chats existed, this is what we used to do. So we had a clique about 12 people, and they only had that like one-on-one private chat at the time. I'm sorry, look for my charge port. I'm barely on the laptop these days. So I'm back in the day we had like a group 12 deep. I'm from Brooklyn. My buddy's from Georgia. His buddy's from Georgia, but he moved to Queens, New York. This guy's in Virginia. So what we all used to do was we just like join this Gears of War lobby, private lobby. These are like my first Xbox Live friends. We've been friends since I first joined Xbox Live. We used to tear the house down on SmackDown versus Raw and every WWE game, Gears of War, etc. I was always the guy to convince them, like, hey, let's play a little Halo. They're like, man, bump that Halo game. We playing Gears. And so, but that's a whole other story. But I met them way back when. So like back in Gears of War 1 days, like I said, we only had private chat. So we would all like stop playing the game for a minute and just all get in the lobby, just chill out and just talk and chat it out. And I just felt like the camaraderie that was there and like the stuff we talked about and like the extreme things that we've said in there. I felt like, if we actually like did something with this, like a lot of people would love to hear it. And like I feel like, our community on Xbox should know us. We're good online, like we're good with like, kicking people's ass or whatnot, but like I feel like we have like a lot of great banter. So that's what originally got me to content creation. But as we got older, family started. These guys are always older than me. I have a family now. And then, I started to branch out into other things on my own. Like, let me try to put out helpful videos for the community that get straight to the point or is simple for them. So, I have my little tutorial like, hey, like I don't have like the greatest setup or greatest like content creator tools. Like I'm too cheap to invest into Adobe right now because New York City rent is high as fuck. And the cost of living is ridiculous. So like I haven't really invested into like these like software suites or like editing tools or even like cameras, microphones. Like I'm on my laptop stock webcam and mic right now. So But just like timing really is kind of what slowed me down with content creation, and like the fact that my original idea, like, it's not. I can't really get into fruition right now because everyone has such a different schedule, and me working and like figuring out what I want to do professionally outside of like my hobbies, really like school and things like that. So I'm really at a point right now to where I'm trying to figure out, okay, Dre, you're successful in these areas, but what do you really want to do, and how can we navigate to make it all like the way you want it? I feel like if it's not exactly how I really want it, then I'm not gonna focus all my time into it. And I feel like if I want to go back into like the content creator side, I want to put my all into it. Like I want to invest in the editing tools. I want to invest in the quality of what I'm presenting. Because like my highest viewed video right now is me taking my iPhone and navigating on the controller. Like, hey, go download this Bing app and look, point the camera to the TV. Look, zoom in. Yeah, you're gonna find it right here, and press this button, and it's gonna be that. Like, I want like, screen captures. I want like my own graphics and stuff like that. Like, I want a cool, nice little channel like Cult has, like things like you have, like setups like you and stuff like that. So it's like, if I don't achieve that, or if I don't have it to where I want to be, like, or I don't put my all into it, I'm just gonna step away from it until I'm committed to it. Like that's my biggest thing is commitment. So if I can't fully commit to it, then
I mean, I tell you, bro, just go, just do it. I mean, like I mean, once you have like that foundation of a few different things that you don't have to continue to constantly fix over and over and over. I mean, for me, at this point, it's like I just switch a couple pictures around. Send people their the questions and whatnot, and just tell, hey, this is my Discord. I'll see you soon, and that's all. That's all I got to do anymore. But like getting to this point was a bitch. like it was not easy. It was a lot of figuring things out, a lot of YouTube videos to figure stuff out as well. Just hop on it and keep going, man, because if you got a few people to check out your stuff that was recorded off of your phone, then I actually know Doc Dark 1985. He's a big Xbox fan, and he records most of his stuff off of his phone. So just use the tools that you got and just keep going. And I mean, eventually you'll get that gear to kind of match that feeling that you want. But as it is, what it is as of right now, like, I mean, I don't know how many people know you, but it's never enough, right? It's never enough. So just getting started in some direction, you'll pick up a few people, and then they'll be like, "Oh, I see you upgrading your stuff," Right. And then that might push on to more followers or whatnot. But I still got a lot of work to do my damn self, so I don't have a whole lot of advice other than that. But I mean, if that's something that you like and you love gaming, just keep pushing, and you'll find your spot. And definitely utilize your tools, and I'm one of them. I'll definitely hop on and talk games with you or do whatever, or if you want to start some sort of thing regularly, I'm always interested in new ideas and just vibing with people and trying to grow together, because I think that's probably the most important part of all of this is like, it's cool to, get a bunch of people and whatnot, but are you building a community at the end of the day?
Right.
Because people are in and out of things so quickly. Like, oh man, like I enjoy watching, basketball or football or something like that, but a few years go by, I might not be into that anymore. But if I have my core group of folks that kind of remind me, this is still dope, then it's going to be harder for me to tear away or to walk away from something when I have people that rely on me.
Right. Definitely.
Most definitely. So just to kind of push forward some more so we can get through this, we've already been on camera doing this for a little over an hour. I want to say like an hour and 10 minutes.
Right, yeah.
Hour and 15 minutes. So let's keep pushing. Now I'm kind of going ahead and get into some of the interesting questions. For one, what is one generation of console that you would like to go back and really tear it down?
Sheesh. I would say, ooh, this is interesting. This is an interesting question. I would say the initial PlayStation 2 Xbox generation.
Okay.
Reason being is I felt like, that is the infancy of online console gaming. And I feel like if I was more aware of more like games and more options at that time, like especially on the Xbox side of online things, like, I feel like I would want to go back and be a part of that OG era of live and the OG era of like what Xbox had to offer, just to jump in there. Because like competitive multiplayer, like I was a single player guy, but jumping to Xbox 360 and getting the Xbox Live and like seeing how like multiplayer and stuff was set up on that, I felt like if I started then, like I probably would have been a beast. Like, I mean, I'm not trying to toot my own horn to be cocky, but I'm really skilled with online games. I'm not the best in every game, but god damn it, I'm the best in whatever the hell I, tend to put my time into. So I feel like I really would want to go back to that generation specifically and, dabble in a couple of more games I didn't have a chance to as well. Like, I missed out on really enjoying Manhunt series. I missed out on a couple series of that generation that we just haven't seen again or heard about again or I don't have access to, and I'm not willing to buy an antique console, to be quite frank with you, to enjoy those experiences. So, that generation definitely.
So you are not a collector of any sort. You just got the console that you play and you just keep it moving from there.
I was a collector, and then I just like, oh, I don't need this anymore. My young mind at the time, and I wish I thought the way I did now. Then, then I would
Oh yeah.
definitely be, but at that time, to me, it was like, oh, this is a hot new thing. It's like being young and liking music and like going through your teenage phase. Like, oh, we don't care about this anymore. We're into skinny jeans now, which was never me. Like, oh, we don't care about baggy jeans. We're into skinny jeans now. Oh, we don't care about skinny jeans. We're into Louis Vuitton now. We're into Saks Fifth Avenue clothes now. Like, that's how I kind of saw my consoles then. Like, oh, Nintendo, selling it. Oh, PlayStation 2, no, this is out now. So, if I kind of do it the way I did now, like preservation is extremely like important. So,
No, absolutely, and I'm right there with you. I sold all of my stuff just to keep up with the Joneses. Like I had to sell things. I didn't have that kind of crazy money to be able to keep it. I wanted to keep it, but I wasn't gonna fool myself into thinking that I could afford it and keep this other console over here.
Exactly.
So I just had to keep it pressing.
Yep.
But all right, I'm going to go on ahead and lay it out, and I want to hear what your predictions are for this upcoming event. We finally got to that area of the conversation where I'm ready to hear what you got to say. So lay it on me, brother.
All right, so off rip, I'm expecting a Gears of War Marcus Phoenix collection. Everybody's been talking about it, but from all the lore I've been seeing on the Gears of War page for these last couple of months that people haven't really been speaking of, and the hints that they're throwing out subtly, I really feel like we're going to see some new Gears, and I feel like they're going to stealth drop it this year. They might have an open beta the same day of the showcase, or hell, maybe they might even launch the damn game. Xbox is, the Coalition specifically, they're really, really on top of their game when it comes to doing shit like that. So I wouldn't be surprised if we see something like that. I'm anticipating news about Avowed as well. Gameplay, definitely. Fable, I'm really hoping that we get a glimpse of that. I'm putting down the prediction as well.
Yeah, that's wishful thinking right there.
Most definitely. The new Forza Motorsport, I'm definitely anticipating to see some footage of that.
Are you a driving fan, though?
A driving fan, I wouldn't call myself a fan. I mean, I love how it looks. To me, they've taken the racing series to a place that, if you're a true racing fan, you'll love it. Like me back in the day, I wasn't really a simulation fan or that much of a racing fan. Outside of Midnight Club 3 Dub Edition was like,
Oh, come
my
on,
shit.
bro. Why you got to bring that up?
I love that game so much.
I think everybody and their mama love that game because
Right.
I currently own the game on PS2 and the original Xbox. I have 2 copies of it. And I have no reason to.
I had like the dub edition, and I had the re-release of Midnight Club 3. Didn't they have like a remix they came out with later on? I forgot what they did, but they had the original launch that came out, and then like they had the remix that had like extra cars later. I had both of them, and that soundtrack was so killer because like it was everything that was popping at that time. I was like, okay, all right, that game was so dope. But like when it came to like the simulation games, like I really wasn't into it at that time until like I started playing it. So I'm not I wouldn't say I'm a fan. Like to me, being a fan is like you really like you truly love this. Like this is your bread and butter. Like you play this all the time. Me, not so much. Like I'll play it. I'll dabble into it. I'll beat it. I'll progress in it. I'll see what it has to offer, and I'll look at it with an unbiased standpoint if it's good or not. I don't have to be a fan of something to know if something's good or not. When I use the word fan, I'm going to say fanatic. You don't have to be a fanatic to see what's good and what's not. Straight like that. It's good or it's not. You could judge that on, you can put as many hours in it as you want. So I wouldn't call myself the biggest fan, but I do actually enjoy the series. I love Forza Horizon, but I don't have like the crazy hours or like, the crazy deep customization other people have. But I have a friend who plays it, and like he's on like another level that I didn't know about. He puts the game in like manual, like every car drives manual. Like he has like he switches like X with like the brake or something. Like he does something completely different with the control scheme. Like he's really into it.
Okay, so yeah, he's all the way in.
Yeah, like for people that are really into it, Forza hands down like the greatest thing that they could get their hands on. Gran Turismo, my friend has it. He has like a PS5, whatever. It's okay. He has a PS5. I played it. DualSense to me really is amazing, honestly.
It is. That the DualSense for the PS5, especially on Gran Turismo 7, is phenomenal.
Yeah, honestly,
it's the way to play a racing game.
It's the way to play a couple of games. I mean, but I really feel like I just hope it's not. Because they advertise as a huge thing for PlayStation, like that's one of the biggest features of the PS5. But that certain things like that can come, it can be overshadowed quickly. Let's put it that way.
Oh yeah, remember the 6-axis for the PS3? That thing got overshadowed real quick.
Yep. And I don't know if you remember, but when the Xbox One first launched, what they did was they had IR blasters on the controller on like the face of it at first. And like the Kinect would like read it, and so like for like Dead Rising, instead of like pressing X to like escape zombies, you shake it, or like to do certain things, you move the controller. Like they kind of had 6-axis features, but they used the IR blaster instead, and that died out quick, and they stopped caring about that. So I kind of hope that doesn't happen with DualSense, but who knows?
No, I think the DualSense is here for the whole generation. I think there's going to be a lot of, or at least I think there are a lot of developers that are out there that are like, yo, like this is something that we could take really good advantage of. And I mean, you see it in like Grand Theft Auto, and they had that in the last generation too, where you can like hear phone calls from your controller and whatnot. Yeah. And I thought that was neat. It's not necessary, but hey, I ain't gonna lie, it's a little bit immersive than hearing everything through the TV. It's not like something that I'm gonna go out and buy the game specifically for, but it definitely helps the game feel like, I mean, as I said just a moment ago, immersive.
Exactly. And that's honestly one thing I'm truly jealous of. There has been rumors that Xbox is working on their version of DualSense.
Yeah, I've heard that too.
We'll see what that's about. But a lot of Xbox guys like to rag on it or whatever. But DualSense, I can truly say, is like one thing that I truly enjoyed about the PS5 and my time with it. At my friend's place like that. That controller is phenomenal. Battery life and stuff aside, like. Just those features, just the immersion you feel from it is like pretty fucking dope. I'm not gonna lie. I still wish the controller button placement was different because to me nothing.
Are you talking about the analogs?
Yeah, analogs and like the feel of it. Like to me, nothing tops Xbox in that regard. But like those features and the immersion from the DualSense are like truly badass. And now I'm kind of going off the rails because now I'm kind of forget what the hell the question was. Shit.
Well, we were originally talking about the Xbox showcase
Predictive.
and whatnot.
Yes, yes,
predictions. So just to kind of keep it moving, I want to know what you like absolutely expect. Like so now remember earlier I said I was going to cut it kind of into sections. So
Right.
I want to hear what you specifically like expect, not what you would like to be there, but what needs to be shown.
Gears, definitely. Halo Infinite updates. Like
Yes.
a huge update. The game to me, it's an amazing game. To me, this is like the gameplay wise, the best Halo that I've played.
Yes, I agree.
It's truly amazing. The only thing they're lacking is multiplayer content. The map, and I feel like they have to. They're trying to work on the progression system they have now, but that thing just needs a complete overhaul. It has to happen. The customization has to be worked on. Like I want to see what's up with co-op. Like I want to see what other modes you guys are bringing to the table. Like you know, like what else is possible with this game? Because we know that this game is a live service game, and this is going to be like their champion for the next what decade.
Yeah, that's the way they put it.
So I really want to see something huge coming for Halo Infinite. The game is amazing. The campaign was the best Halo campaign that stuck with me. Yeah, there's a lot of debates about that, but the story.
Halo
cutscene-
2 was fire to me. ODST was fire to me. 3 was
Okay.
fire. The original one was fire, but I kind of feel you a little bit on this new one, just for the fact that it kind of, I don't know, I feel like it kind of takes you back into the right direction from where 5 left you.
Right.
And I feel like to be able to do something like that is pretty incredible, because a lot of games, once it's lost, it's out.
That's it.
You know,
Right.
you know, like you know, once you screw up something for something that big, a lot of people just flat out give up on it. I mean, you've seen how, you know, or K Mega talks about this a lot on his podcast, how how Xbox almost lost Halo. It almost ended up being acquired by Gearbox. I'm not sure if you knew that or not, but it would have been insane to see PlayStation have Halo, right? Eventually.
Oh.
Like that would have just been like sacrilegious.
Right.
But what was it? I think Bonnie Ross and Phil Spencer was not having that. They were like, yo, we need that game. If Xbox has anything, they need to have that specifically,
Right.
because that's
Exactly.
that that's what lifted Xbox off of the ground in the first place. So
Right.
I mean, we already have Mass Effect that's now third party. We got KOTOR that recently we found out. I mean, they could have had the rights to that, but they let that slip out of their hand. We heard about Spider-Man, how that could have been an Xbox game, but that slipped out of our hand. But if Halo would have slipped out of our hand, I think that would have been, you know, time to close the doors for Xbox.
Right, most definitely. And you know, Halo's not my like most favorite game. It is now, honestly. Halo Infinite really made me love Halo to another level because Gears has my heart. Honestly, like that's the game that really did it for me. But Halo Infinite took me to a place that, you know, really captured me. And like the direction they're going in, and there's just so much with Halo Infinite that I truly love. And I was like, yo, I really don't understand the beef. The only beef I could have with the game, you know, is just the lack of content, really. But other than that, campaign is phenomenal. The direction of the story is phenomenal. The weapon, I love the weapon so much. Like I love her more than Cortana, honestly. People went back and forth with me on Twitter about that, but the weapon is dope to me. Like I love the weapon a lot.
Yeah, the weapon is cool. It's a nice switch up from the constant kind of seriousness of Cortana.
Right.
to where we now have something that's like it almost like it's brilliant, but at the same time it's like computer stupid.
Right. I feel like the transition from Cortana to the weapon is a transition in society. Cause like the 30-year-olds back when we were kids were like serious and stern, and now we have 30-year-olds on TikTok doing all the new dances. I feel like the weapon relates to what society is now. You know, like 'cause back then somebody my age was like super adult like oh wow, this 27-year-old guy is pretty regular, but now it's like we're on TikTok and IG and doing the hottest new dances. So I feel like the weapon translates in a way to what society is now compared to Cortana, what that was then. So like the weapon is like dope as fuck to me in that aspect.
I feel that.
And
I like that. Continue.
one thing, one thing I do want to make stand out about Halo Infinite is playing the game on Legendary. Every Halo game you always hear the AI, the demon, the demon. The little AI, whatever. But you go out there, you get your ass kicked bad. And it's like, damn, these people are afraid of Chief and they're fucking them up like this. But Halo Infinite, I walk into a room, I hear all the banter, the chatter, grapple hook, my fucking fusion coil, bow, blow some shit up, take out my battle rifle, headshot, throwing grenades. Like I feel more of like who Master Chief is, if that makes sense.
Oh
Like
yeah.
I feel like in this Halo, like you embody why they call him the demon. His abilities, like the ways you could upgrade it. You going on the map, upgrading your Spartan core, and like you choosing like the path of like, yeah, I want to make this stronger. And like now, that I did all of this before this boss fight, like I'm a strong chief now, and like these people know that I'm the demon. I'm the demon they speak about. I'm who they gossip about. I'm who they talk about on these radios. Like I feel that I'm the Master Chief in Halo Infinite. Every other game is like, yeah, you could be good at it, but like I'm camping out a lot. I'm crouching out a lot.
Yeah,
This game,
and that was
like,
a big deal in
really-
Halo 5 too. Is it felt like you were running from the enemies more than running at the enemies. Where in Halo Infinite, it feels like yeah, some of them enemies are running at me, but I'm running right back at them too. And I'm giving them the business.
Exactly. Like, yeah, I'm gonna show y'all why y'all call me the demon. Let me call out my Scorpion tank. Let me show y'all what my heat wave do, my battle rifle does. All of this, like you feel it, and it's like I really love that direction of the game. Like,
Yep. Master Chief pulling up in a whole new way now.
exactly. Scorpion drops. I'm pulling up on my Marine squad on the tanks. We coming in there. We fucking shit up. Yeah.
Right. Everybody got a sniper rifle or rocket launcher or something.
Exactly. Like that's like you feel it. Like you feel like, yeah, I'm Master Chief. I'm the demon that y'all been dreaming about. Y'all scared. Y'all talking about me. I'm gonna make the gossip real. I'm gonna show y'all the gossip is real for real. Like, so I truly love that about Halo Infinite. The gameplay, like it really like you feel it. It's like, yeah.
Here we go veering off again. Here we go veering off. We done spent like 10 minutes talking about it.
Right.
When we were just supposed to talk about, hey, I hope to see it at E3 or I hope to see it at the conference. That was also that was supposed to be it. But we veered off again. We do that. But anyways, so what else needs to be there? Because you said Gears so far. You said Halo.
Hellblade
What
2,
else?
of course.
Okay.
Hellblade, most definitely.
Hey, they've been loud. They've been loud on the internet a little bit.
Most definitely. Hellblade 2. And I feel like they need to show off some of their new projects as well outside of Hellblade 2. Because they've been teasing like stuff that they could do with their engine with other like realistic looking images and games. I'm like, yo, what the hell is all this other shit you guys are showing us? And it's like, I forgot what it was. It was a while ago. It was like an office kind of setting, and they showed these stairs, and they compared it to like these flight of stairs like that they had in real life in their office. It's like, okay, so what else are you guys making if it's not just Hellblade 2? Like, you guys have a lot, and you guys have a lot of studios too, you know. So I'm expecting a new IP along with Hellblade 2, definitely.
So remember, these are the needs, the things
Yes.
that Xbox needs to show.
Yes.
So Halo, Gears, Hellblade, and a new IP is what you said so far. Anything else?
Starfield gameplay, of course.
Okay.
Some form of Starfield gameplay. Hopefully they don't have a whole shit show like they did with the first showing of Halo Infinite, to where people forced it so bad that they showed what they showed, and some people loved it and a lot of people hated it. So I hope that doesn't happen. But they
I
need to
don't think
show
it can though, because there is no previous Starfield to go back to and say, "Hey, this don't look right."
exactly. And at the same time, they had more than enough time to have at least something, instead of all the excuses they came up with at that time. But
Yeah. It's okay that her armor clean now, right? Because she ain't been in battle yet.
Exactly.
All right.
Gameplay. And I feel like there has to be some kind of more clarity on what this acquisition with Activision is about. Like, I need more clarity of it because we're hearing Call of Duty's multiplat and stuff like that. So, what's the biggest draw from this Activision acquisition, and what games can we truly expect from this acquisition to be exclusive part of the Xbox PC portfolio? But I feel like we need that, definitely.
You know, one thing I think they need to talk about, I don't mean to cut you off. I really think they need to address the DVR situation.
That, yes. Like, our game DVR hasn't been worked on in God knows how long. And there's so many badass clips that I have right now. And like one day, I decided to play the games. Everybody was like, "Oh, if you're a gamer, drop your clips or whatever." I made so many clips on the goddamn game DVR, but then I had to go click on each one of those clips individually from the console, then upload them, and some of them had issues uploading. And then once it's uploaded, then I have to click on those individually to share it. So, like, me making all these clips trying to show off, like, yo, I'm really that dude. I'm telling y'all I am on Gears. I'm not bullshitting. And it's like, I need the whole game DVR and capture system to be revamped. Like, they have to address that. That's been requested for how long now? Like, we're getting all these, like, skip ahead updates, and, like, only thing I'm seeing is polishing. I'm not seeing nothing new as of late. I just see polishing. What are you guys polishing for? I hope it's game DVR.
Right.
I really do.
I mean, straight up, sometimes you download your clip, and I'm sure some of y'all have seen it since you guys are watching the show, those of you in the chat, but like some of these clips are dark as hell. And it's like, bro, I don't remember it being that dark when I was playing it. You know what I mean? Like right now, Fable's showing the clip before this last one. Man, you can barely see what I was doing. I remember when I was playing it, though, I seen it perfect. But, like, the DVR is just not the best. Some of the photos and videos come out hella dark. It just doesn't look right. It needs to be worked on. It needs to be addressed. And I feel like every time somebody, like, addresses it, a lot of people just kind of ignore it, or it just doesn't come back up for another like 6 months. And then somebody else will be like, yo, they need to fix this. And then everyone's like, yeah. And then it goes away again.
Yeah, exactly. Because the thing is like, I feel like the Xbox is a very polarizing brand, to be quite frank. Very polarizing within the gaming community. You know, you have your typical fans. It's like, oh, Sony can't do any wrong. Xbox is like, wrong. Fix this. And it gets to the point where like Xbox is really doing amazing in a lot of areas, but it's like we're picking at so many different things, and it's like then we have the the software engineering teams like, oh well, this is an issue, then this is an issue, then this is pushed back. Game DVR, uproar, like yeah, fix that. And then next thing you know, boom, we're back to the argument because some pony said Xbox has no games. Then all the big influencers are trying to fight about what games are coming out. And then, once again, game DVR gets lost in the shuffle due to a pointless argument from people trying to ruffle our feathers. So I feel like, it's a combination of certain things. And in addition to that, we're voicing our opinions in the wrong channels. Like, of course, people see what's on Twitter. But at the same time, there are appropriate places to where you need to push that feedback exactly to ensure that we are getting this change. It's like, I'm not sure if we still have it because it's been a while since I requested something, but there's like this dedicated website officially on Xbox to where you could tell them like what feature you actually want to see happen, and people vote on it, and then they work on it next. I'm gonna see if I can find it again, and then I'll post it because it's been a while. But it really is something on Xbox.com. I forgot the backslash, but like you could really put the feedback in to where like, hey, like work on game DVR, then it'll let you know like in progress and like this many people upvoted it. Like they had that. I'm not sure if they have it now because it's been so long, but like we just need to get our voices in the right places. Like Twitter's a great place to be vocal, of course, because people see it, but we need to also ensure that we're directing the feedback in the right places. Like there's this girl, Eden Marie. She works on the Xbox team, but she works on a very specific team that works on like OS updates and stuff. So it's like, you know, you're giving her feedback about some shit she doesn't even work on. She's a part of that team, but like we need to make sure we're getting it to the right channels and reporting it to the right place.
Oh, that's a brilliant thing to say right there. That's I mean, I even need to be better at doing that because sometimes I find myself on Twitter, and I mean, I think a lot of people can attest to doing the same thing. It feels like you're shouting into the sky.
Oh, most definitely.
So you're just mad, but you're not directing any of your frustrations toward anything. You're just yelling.
Exactly. That's correct. And like one thing that I noticed that people do is like, hey, we need a revamped operating system in game DVR. Aaron Greenberg handles marketing, bro. Like, like he's not in there coding this shit together. He's handling marketing. He's having a wonderful time on vacation and hyping up the next Xbox event, bro. That's not his thing, bro. You just gotta make sure, like, if we're yelling in the right spaces. That's about it.
Right. I elbowed. I tried to elbow Jason Ronald and say, "Yo, bro, you need to bring back. You need to bring Rise to 60 FPS." Cause Rise, Son of Rome, I don't care what nobody says. That's probably in my top 3 of best Xbox One games.
Oh man, when I first played that game, like me, I had like every goddamn launch title there was. I had Rise, I had Dead Rising 3. Like that Rise game was different, and the fact that they haven't touched on that IP is crazy to me, or haven't hinted towards it or anything. Like that is insane, because that game was truly remarkable. It was beautiful. It was short. It could have been like it could be way more now with the technology that we do have. Because that game came out looking the way it did, and you know playing the way it did in the infancy of the Xbox One. So just imagine what that game could be with the Unreal Engine 5. I feel like that could be an IP that could be a true competitor to like a God of War, honestly. Like, if they did it the right way, since now we have the right tech, now we have the right teams, like the Initiative. Like we see what happened with the Initiative, and like that you know, regardless of departures or whatnot, they still have pretty much legendary devs on that team. You have Rockstar devs on that team. You have devs from so many different places. Like, oh yeah, since we're speaking about Bethesda showcases and stuff like that, Xbox Bethesda, the Initiative has to show off their IP. Definitely. The Initiative is that one group that they may seem like the goddamn Men in Black. Like, oh yeah, we're composed of the greatest talent. I need to see what the greatest talent is doing. Like, these people left from the Initiative. They need to show me, like, who's left and what they're doing. Like, it needs to be shown. Because that's that one team that Xbox basically kind of had up their sleeve, like, releasing cryptic videos about, introducing team members.
I like how you said Men in Black. That's about right. Because it's just like, what the hell are they doing? Like, every time you hear a little something about them, it's either like rough or it's just like, what the hell are y'all up to back there? Because like they really made this this Perfect Dark seem almost majestic.
Right.
But and then you haven't really heard not a dang thing from them other than issues since then.
Exactly. And departures. And the craziest thing that happened to me was the one guy that left the Initiative. I mean, he left the Initiative. He's like, oh, because of somebody passed and he needs to take time away from the industry. And the very next week, he signed to Insomniac. That was so shady and strange. And it's like, what the fuck? Like, you threw us all for a loop and you did that within a week of grieving? That was awkward to say. But like, I really got to see what's going on with that team. Like, we need to see what's going on with that team.
Absolutely. All right. So now, so you talked about the things that you feel must be there, but now I'm kind of curious. What's like some wishful thinking things that you would like to throw in?
It's something that I like, a fantasy kind of thing that I want.
Yeah, of the things that you've heard of being announced, what do you think would be pretty dope to see, but really surprising?
The reboot of the Splinter Cell IP, and for it to become an Xbox IP. That is
Wow.
something
That's a
that
dig. That is a dig.
that right there would be pretty monumental to me. Splinter Cell, and like I just feel like Splinter Cell always shared the Xbox DNA. The color scheme, it's already green and black.
Well,
so
was
come
it?
on.
It was exclusive at first,
Right, exactly. So like that Xbox DNA has always been there with Splinter Cell. And I feel like, Xbox guys in general, or like the Xbox population and fan base, they've always been like Splinter Cell fans. Like, they've always spoke about it more than anything. I honestly didn't know about Splinter Cell on PlayStation until like watching X Play and like G4 figure out like, yo, this game is like, on PlayStation 2 as well. But like, I mostly see people talk about it on Xbox, and experiencing Splinter Cell for what it is. It's like, yo, this is dope. And based off their last game, I could just imagine what they could do with the technology we have now. Like, imagine Splinter Cell like a remake, like a whole reboot from like the original, using UE5, like with today's graphics, today's mechanics, and like produced by like an Xbox team. Like, imagine along with Perfect Dark, they're also working on Splinter Cell, and then somehow, some way, they have a crossover later on down the line. Like, that would be pretty crazy, honestly. But like, I feel like Splinter Cell would be like something that could stand out in the Xbox portfolio as a true stealth. Because I feel like, back in the day, one thing I know Xbox for was like stealth. Like, Xbox, for some reason, the original Xbox, like, although Halo was there, Splinter Cell spoke out to like that stealth game. Splinter Cell Hitman, they always spoke more on Xbox for some reason. So I feel like Splinter Cell would be a great thing to have, and that would be like one thing that I hope for, like a Splinter Cell reboot, and for it to somehow become an Xbox IP.
All right. Any other surprise things that you'd like to see?
Grand Theft Auto 6.
Oh my God! Stop it.
Grand Theft Auto. It doesn't have to be exclusive. Doesn't have to be timed. Listen, Rockstar Games, my favorite developers of all time. I need, like, it's probably unlikely, but Grand Theft Auto 6 would make me, like, that should make me scream. Like, I'll sound like goddamn an opera singer.
Sound like
Like
Prince.
the guy, like Prince on the, like, definitely. I would lose my mind if I can see the damn logo coming March something, or coming this holiday, next holiday, which is probably unlikely, but like Grand Theft Auto and Rockstar just does something different. Or even like the Max Payne reboot, just to see what that would be like, because Max Payne 1, just to take it back, was my first PS2 game. That was my first game on PS2. I wanted other things, but the guy at the game store was like, oh yeah, this game is cool. I'm like 7 years old. Why the hell would you recommend me Max Payne 1? So I was playing Max Payne 1 at that age, and I was like, all right. His face all messed up like this.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember playing that game like in my young years, and being like, I don't think I should be playing this game.
Right.
But I'm playing it anyways. But like the part that I knew that I shouldn't be playing this game like at all is when you walked in and seen your baby.
I knew it. I knew you were gonna say that.
And then you had to walk the blood. Bro.
Exactly. I was just going to say that. That is the part of that game that made me go, yeah, I'm not going to play this shit. I'm not going to finish it. But like, it's crazy. like as an adult now, I'm like, yo, imagine what this would look like on next gen consoles. We saw what they could do with Max Payne 3. Now the physics from Red Dead Redemption 2 tied into an action game like Max Payne, and instead of having that cheesy like the comic book thing was kind of interesting, but like I don't want them to stick with that. Like I always wanted Max Payne, the original ones, that have like the full-fledged cutscenes to go with it. But if they want to keep it nostalgic, I guess it just depends on how they deliver on that aspect. But like I could just imagine what they're gonna do with that IP, with like the new engines and things like that. Like that's gonna be dope. But like, when I was a kid and saw that Dream Nightmare, I was like, yo, this is fucking crazy that the baby keeps crying. And I'm like, what the fuck is going on here? I'm like 7 years old, so I'm like, yeah, I'm just gonna go back to Grand Theft Auto 3. I'd rather drive by on them triads downtown and the mafia than worry about babies crying and blood trails. So.
Got it. All right, so I'm trying to remember the third thing I had for the showcase. I had must-haves, I had wishful thinking, then I had something else. I'll bring it back up if I can remember it. But moving on, we only got a few more questions that I want to dig into real quick before we go ahead and cut off the episode. It's been fantastic so far. But we're over 2 hours into this thing, right?
Yeah.
At least it's been live for over 2 hours, and I see you got a kiddo and whatnot. And I'm sure you want to get him to bed and everything. So let's keep this thing moving. So, what's your favorite studio, and what game best represents that studio? I feel like I know the answer to this, but maybe you might surprise me.
Okay, Rockstar, definitely.
Oh, I thought you were gonna hit me with Gears.
No, Rockstar. Rockstar, definitely. And Red Dead Redemption 2.
Oh, wow.
There's no game I can attest to that I mean, every generation Rockstar revolutionizes what an amazing video game truly is. And they haven't failed me yet throughout the years. Grand Theft Auto 3 introduced like what true open world games are. In every generation, they show you exactly, why we get these 10 out of 10 scores. What's wrong, baby? And I feel like Red Dead Redemption 2, it goes to a place to where, like, people are like, oh, the game is so boring, but, when's the last time you saw a Quentin Tarantino movie that started off like, oh my god, this is so much action, it's amazing in the beginning, and didn't get, like, tremendously better towards the end? So like I feel like their games are like classic movies. Like it might have a slow build, but like this build is for a reason because you're about to go into a world that you've never seen before. And when you experience it, like it's going to shock the hell out of you. Like Red Dead Redemption 2 to me was one of those games, and incorporating like the weather into like your clothing and like your bathing and the storyline itself, and like you seeing him grow, you seeing the facial hair grow, the physics, the gun physics, the rag, like everything about that game to me is like it's a masterpiece. And I feel like if they could do that with Red Dead Redemption 2 with the technology they had at the end of the generation, what the hell are they going to do next? Only time Rockstar has let me down was continuing to release Grand Theft Auto 5 over and over again. But me being the guy that I am, I still buy it because I know that although I played it before, I'm still going to enjoy it again regardless. Just like the Grand Theft Auto trilogy, it disappointed people, but me, Grand Theft Auto 3 is that game that, it truly spoke to me, and getting the chance to play that game again, like, it took me back, like, to my childhood, and that was the greatest feeling ever. So now that we have games like Red Dead Redemption 2, what are they going to do with 6? And, Red Dead Redemption 2 is like the defining of, like, we're Rockstar Games. We have a humorous side with Grand Theft Auto. We've shown technical feats, but this is like who we are as a developer. These are the experiences we're going to bring to you as a gamer. There are other great developers out there, but I feel like no developer has done what Rockstar has done in regards to like true masterpiece. And to me, Red Dead Redemption 2 embodies that in every way. And it's not exclusive to one console. Everybody gets to enjoy the pie, except for ones that truly aren't capable. Nintendo, but still.
that was a hell of a slight right there. I loved it, and I was surprised to hear that Red Dead Redemption 2 was that game for you. Although I get it, I was just surprised to hear it because you went through most of this podcast talking about Grand Theft Auto.
Yeah, like I love Grand Theft Auto. Like believe me, like Grand Theft Auto to me is my favorite series of all time. But when I touched Red Dead Redemption 2, bro, like that was like the true, like last masterpiece I say that I've played. Like the only thing I don't like about Red Dead Redemption 2, which everybody can agree with, is the multiplayer. But the single player, that world, that experience, the characters, the features, the physics, the storytelling, like all of that trumps anything negative you can say about that game. Like till this day, you can go on Red Dead Redemption 2 and you'll experience something that you've never experienced before. I was just on Twitter last night looking at clips on Red Dead Redemption. God bless you. Looking up clips on Red Dead Redemption 2, and like this guy was aiming his gun at dude on a horse.
You talking about Boom?
Yes. I never saw that before. I never know you could even do that. So when I saw that, I was like, get the fuck out of here. Like you lassoed his gun on his wrist and made him shoot himself in the face. What other game is that possible on? What other game have you seen that happen on to where it's so smooth, it's so silky, like, and then like just to think, it's like, yo, if they could do that with Red Dead Redemption 2, what the hell are they gonna do with Grand Theft Auto 6?
Right. I agree with what Stankma just said though. Red Dead Redemption 2's multiplayer was mid, and I agree. That the story mode was everything that you want for me at least. It was phenomenal. But once I was so hyped to play multiplayer because I was like, this is gonna be crazy. This is gonna be crazy. And then they pushed back the multiplayer, if you remember. And I was like, they must be pushing it back to make it even crazier. And then it came out, and I was like, man, this shit feel empty as hell.
And you know what it was too? They have so many people dedicated to Grand Theft Auto Online, and it's like they just forgot about Red Dead Redemption 2 Online. And then when you compare the worlds, it's like, yo, you got one game online, you gotta own a house, own cars and planes, and rob banks and shit. Like, yeah, Red Dead Redemption 2, you're gonna have a horse, you're gonna take baths, you're just gonna shoot stuff up. So I felt like, you're a rock star. You're expecting, people expecting more of Grand Theft Auto 5, but you can't have that because of the time errors. But at the same time, it should have been way better than what it was. Because even Red Dead Redemption 1, I enjoyed it online. I just felt like Red Dead Redemption 2, multiplayer probably should have never been a thing with that game. Some games should just stick to like where they're good at and just leave it that way.
Hey, like the Avengers.
Oh, Avengers, Lord Jesus. Speaking of the Avengers, man, that game, I felt like the campaign was pretty cool, but then everything else was like, eh. And then, to be real with you, Guardians of the Galaxy, I thought it was going to be just like the Avengers. So
I think everybody did. I think everybody did.
My friend, I forgot what happened. I think it was on sale. And like people kept hyping it up on Twitter, but a lot of ponies were hyping it up, and I really don't trust what they say because that is a gullible, the fanatics. Like you have some people that are like not biased and they'll tell you what it is, but a lot of those motherfuckers will really sit here and tell you, yeah, Destruction's All Stars is cool because it's exclusive. It's the best thing ever. Fuck out of here. So when they were saying that about Guardians of the Galaxy, I'm like, I took it with a grain of salt. And then my friend, and I started seeing more people talk about it. I'm like, yo, all right, let's see what's up. Because if Avengers was like this, I certainly don't want to spend money on it. So I heard more about it. I'm like, it's on sale. I might as well buy it. I'm not a guy that waits till it gets on Game Pass because that's what people like. That's the narrative now. Oh, yeah, Xbox doesn't play games. They wait for it to go on Game Pass. Not me. If I see something I like, I'm going to get it regardless. So I saw like cool stuff about it. So I bought it and I was like so surprised. I'm like, what fucking team made this? Because if they made the Avengers, maybe the Avengers wouldn't have been such a shit show that it was. Because Guardians was dope as shit. But once again, I'm veering off the topic. Excuse me.
You good?
Oh, you want to put this over there? Okay. But yeah, I'm sorry. I forgot what we was even. But yeah, Rockstar Games, definitely. Sorry, I keep. It's so much stuff I have to talk about, and it's been a while since I've had one of these conversations about gaming that I could just go on and on. But I don't want to. This will be a long ass podcast, believe me.
Oh yeah, I feel that. So I mean that makes sense. Rockstar's favorite studio, Red Dead Redemption's a great game to represent that for sure. What's the game that you're most excited for in the future?
Um, I want to say Gear 6. Gear 6 and Grand Theft Auto 6. Gear 6 because of how Gears 5 left off. I don't know how many people played Gears 5 or experienced that story. If they haven't experienced it, I hate to spoil it. But I feel like that before Gears 5 was released, Microsoft made a commitment. And Microsoft specifically stated that, from this moment on, you're going to see the difference in our games. And to me, that was very evident with Gears 5. The storytelling of 5, the cutscenes, like the way the cutscenes were shot, the way they were made, the voice acting. I really feel like Gears 5 took, Xbox Studio Games, to a different level, I might say. Like they like everything they did about it was very different. Like, of course, it's a Gears story, but like, if you're a true avid fan like myself, you see all the changes they made and why they went the direction they did, and that they have a specific formula now to not only make great gameplay, but to also make it a cinematic masterpiece. And I feel like Gears 5 embodied that with the storytelling. The only flaw I would have is the ending, where you have a choice to where I feel like it should be more canon. But besides that, the story.
You talking about with JD and whatnot?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But the way the storytelling went, the way you're playing with Kate, and like you figure out more about Kate and like her background, and you figure out more background about the Locust, and now you're at the end of Gears 5, and you do this one thing, and we know there's like there's a whole hierarchy. It's like a Locust swarm family, and what happened with the Locusts, how they came about, and it's like, so where are we going with this franchise now? And like, there's like an even greater story to tell because of that. I could be pushing the prequels. I could be pushed into like after 5 into 6 and things like that. So like, I'm really excited to see where they're gonna go in regards to the next game. Like, not just like Marcus Phoenix collection type stuff to where they remake the first couple ones, boost up the graphics. Like this continuation of the story itself, because that story goes deep, way deeper than people actually think or that they've seen or haven't even experienced yet. Like, I feel like that story is pretty dope, especially with the route they took. Like, one thing that stood out to me that I really enjoyed was if you ever play Gears 5 co-op and you're not Kate, if like, let's say you're playing with JD or you're playing with Dell and I'm playing with Kate, things are gonna happen for me that you have no idea about unless you play with Kate or unless I'm telling you about it. Because I was playing with my friend, he's like, yo, what the hell is happening? I'm trying to kill these locusts, or I'm trying to kill the swarm. Whole time he doesn't know it's me in the campaign controlling them at that point, to where Kate gains these abilities because she's like, that's in her ancestry. So she has control over the beast somehow, like mentally. And like, nobody would know that unless you're playing with Kate or they're telling you about it. I thought that shit was so cool. And it's like, yo, you're really going to like a place with this story with Kate. Like, it's deep. And so, I'm just truly excited to see like the next entry in that saga and series. Other than like more prequel backstories, but like the true next entry forward in the Gears franchise.
Okay. Stinkma in the chat said if he sees Gears at this event, that he's going ahead and gonna go ahead and cop that Series X ASAP. Words out of his mouth.
Hey, listen. At this point, I mean, thank God that they're good with supply, because you could probably walk into a GameStop right now and pick one up. It might make you get a bundle for Xbox All Access, but right now is the time to have it. Because if you feel they're gonna show the new Gears, just imagine what else people are hyped for that they're gonna show at the showcase. That's gonna make people like go in waves to purchase an Xbox. And I know for a fact they're gonna show Gears. Like, so if you are planning on getting a series console, I suggest you do so now. Like now is the time. The calm before the storm is here. Because once Xbox shows what they're gonna show, best believe it's gonna be hard to find one again.
Probably, I wouldn't doubt that. And I didn't even put that, I didn't even think about that at all. Like how sales is going to be after the show. I'm sure it's going to shoot right back up again. Not to say that they're doing bad at all right now. They're doing fantastic right now, right? But
Exactly.
but it's going to be harder to have access to purchasing that console after the show for sure, especially when some things get announced that we weren't expecting. But I got two more questions, and then the thing that I have everybody do at the end of the episode. The first one is, what frustrates you about gaming in general?
What frustrates me about gaming in general now, as an adult, is just a whole bunch of new stuff that keeps coming out, and I just can't keep up with it anymore the way I used to. Like, I wouldn't say well, that's more personal. Let's speak about gaming in general. One thing I can't stand about gaming in general is let's say a lack of creativity. I would say, because I feel like the industry is at a point to where now instead of seeing a lot of new stuff, I see that it's great to revisit things, to reimagine things, but if you're doing small things like we're releasing this game brand new, and we just came out with it recently, but we're releasing a brand new version. This is a remake, and it's not really a remake. It's just a re-release with like a little bit of polished graphics or whatnot. Like that's one thing I don't like about gaming now. I feel like it's a trend that's happening a lot, is we're just getting a lot of not true remakes, but just like polishings of games that's already been out, and games that haven't even been out that long to where it needs a fresh paint, like a fresh coat of paint, really. That's one thing that frustrates me.
Yeah. One that I think of when you say that is The Last of Us 1 remake.
Right.
Like it's like I've heard so many people in the crowd say this isn't necessary. Like the one that was upgraded for the PS4 version, which currently looks fairly good on the PS5 because I played it on there, I beat it on there and whatnot. When I heard that they were remaking that, I was like, wait a second, y'all remaking that? But why? Like maybe they're gonna. I mean, because so Sony can be kind of sneaky sometimes and be like, we're adding this, that, and a third to it, and that's the reason we're making this remake. And I'm wondering if Factions has a big deal to do with that. You know what I mean?
Right. And just to add on to that, like I feel like this IP isn't old to a point to where a remake is necessary. Like, this is an IP that a lot of people still haven't played yet. It's well renowned, sold millions, but there's a lot of people I know that have PlayStation that haven't played it yet. Like I've played it before them, and they've had Sony consoles their whole lives, and it's like, I doubt that they need a remake at this very moment. So it's like, this whole remake, rehash, refresh era that we're going through right now because of, I don't know what the specific reasons are. The main reason has been COVID, but it's like that trend needs to die down a bit.
Well, yeah.
I'm ready to see new stuff, new entries, new IPs instead of like rehashing things. Like rehashing things, like let's say from PS2 generation, that's cool and all. Okay, I'll accept those. But to sit here and like remake something that just came out last gen, or just like 3 years ago or 4 years ago or so, and like it's like unnecessary, and like we're just wasting too much time and resources on things that we already have that don't really need to be changed or remade yet. It could be put towards something else the gamers actually could benefit from or care about.
Absolutely. Yeah, just to kind of go over what you kind of just said about your buddy that hasn't even played, or how you have friends that haven't even played that. I mean, us as, people that are on Twitter, we speak out on what we have to say about games and whatnot. And we're like first party, Xbox needs to show something, PlayStation, they need to show something, Nintendo, they need to show something. What sometimes I feel like we fail to realize is, first party is still secondary. Third party is still running the show.
Right.
For the most part in gaming. Call of Duty's still best, like a bestseller every year. Madden's still a bestseller every year, even though I'm not a big fan of it. FIFA, 2K, Grand Theft Auto, perfect example. Apex Legends, Fortnite. These are all third party things, and they are running the game right now. As much as we want to say, first party, it's cool, and I'm excited for first party, but it's highly unlikely that a first party game is going to outdo most, if any, of these big third party games that I just mentioned.
Right, agreed. And that's something that I've also realized too, because everybody on Twitter is like, oh, in order for this console to sell, it needs to have the hottest first party game ever. You would see The Last of Us on the goddamn box or Halo on the Xbox's box, and your first game is going to be Call of Duty. And NBA 2K. That really is the way of the world. Third party rolls regardless. Like first parties sell less than what people dinging. First party games are great. They might sway you like, yeah, I gotta get an Xbox because of this. And I feel like we're gonna see more of that delta. Speaking of like what the consoles have to offer, because a lot of those games that were multi-plat, that Xbox is gonna make exclusive going forward. That's also going to drive a fork in the road between if you're buying an Xbox or PlayStation. But that's a different conversation. Like that could be a whole other podcast, honestly. But yeah, as of now, third party is king. But the way Microsoft is snatching up these developers, it's going to be an interesting picture that's going to be painted out pretty soon.
Absolutely. So now, what's a dream come true in gaming? Then I have one random question to ask you before we close it out.
Okay. A dream come true in gaming?
Yeah, just flat out your dream, not anybody else's. What would you like to see in gaming? It could be as crazy as Sega Dreamcast coming with a new console again, or just whatever. I don't want to influence anything. Go ahead.
Right. Oh man, that's a great question actually. A dream come true. Jeez. What'd you say? What?
I think you said Midnight Club.
Oh man, Midnight Club. Oh my God. A dream come true, I would say, is for games that are supposed to be multi-plat, being multi-plat. And I mean games like Spider-Man, Wolverine, etc. Those aren't games that's going to make me buy a PlayStation. But I feel like there are certain games out there that really shouldn't be tied to one console. I feel like if you have a game that's like a mega like pop culture thing, like I feel like everybody should be able to play it no matter the platform. So that'll probably be a dream come true. Not really a big dream, but that's kind of a hard question for me, honestly. So I'm gonna use that as an answer for now, because.
So you want to see more exclusive games. You just want to see more people be able to play more games that are like just renowned. Yeah. Like Spider-Man, for instance, is known around the world. Like, so for that to be locked down on one console, I kind of feel like you're kind of holding, or at least I wonder if Marvel as a company is looking at that and thinking, we could make a lot more sales if we were everywhere instead of just one place.
Right. Exactly. And like a game like Spider-Man, like look how many movies they sell in the theaters, and how successful they actually were. Because like the last Spider-Man before the whole Sony exclusive thing was like what? I forgot the name of it. It was like the Spider-Man, like the Dimensions game or something like that. And they had like a whole bunch of different comic versions of it. Like that game was great. And it's like, yo, everybody loved that game no matter what platform it was on. And like, everybody got a chance to enjoy Spidey regardless. And like, a pop culture phenomenon like Spider-Man, Batman, Wolverine, X-Men, stuff like that. I feel like, stuff like that should definitely be available for everyone to play as long as their console is capable. Because we know Nintendo can't handle it. But, like I said,
you just keep throwing them digs at Nintendo.
I hate to do it, but come on, they know better now. Like we all know what next generation gamers want. They want to play games that are fully capable on their investment for this generation. So if Nintendo up their hardware game and deliver with multiplex that could handle, what's on the console and still have the first party, then it'll be better for everybody.
100%, 100%. All right, the very last question I have for you before I ask you to do the thing that I ask everybody to do at the end. Is what's up with Prince? What's the deal with that, bruh? Like you're a New York brother, right? Like the way that you be posting Prince gifs and stuff like that on Twitter. I be thinking you're from Minnesota.
Right, straight from Chanhassen, right with him. Well, I am from New York. If you know me, my favorite artist is Prince and Jay-Z. The whole Prince thing, I don't know. Like my mom and my aunts, they always like Prince. I guess they had a crush on him or whatever. I didn't really care about that as a kid, And then in my teenage years, I explored Purple Rain, like the movie, and then like. I went through this phase to where like I tried to learn to play guitar, so I actually bought a guitar because like it was like so dope, and like I started getting into more rock music and instruments at that time. So I was like, yo, this cat is real. Like this guy's a real deal, and like besides musically, like I started to learn more about what Prince's mind state was, and like his characters, like it's so mystique. Like it's like yo, like. He's like not a celebrity you keep hearing about in the news or you just spot all the time doing some crazy shit. Like this guy's really like private. And, like when you see Prince, it's like yo, it's like this man's a legend. Like he's like the Undertaker to WWE in his late career. You see him every once in a while, but when you see that man, a statement's going to be made. And I started doing my research and learning more about his stance on the industry, his stance on religion, his stance on like being a man and things like that. So I just got really into Prince. And then his memes and gifs like could speak any mood, period. So like every time you see me on Twitter or on here, you'll see that Prince meme pop up because it's like he just relates to anything I gotta say. So, but like his music spoke to me and his character in general, like what he stood for and like the mystique is like yo. This dude is this is a badass brother right here, and it's like a lot of people have a misconception about Prince until they actually know his music and know it. Like he's not this Purple Rain guy or a guy that you see wearing heels or certain clothing. Like it's a reason, and he explains it in a certain way, and he's been through trials and tribulations in his career, like with the record label and having to go by the symbol for a while, having to sue over his recordings, his master recordings, like. It's a lot of interesting stuff, and once you learn more about Prince and like what he stood for, his career, his music, his actual capability in knowing music,
and the amount of instruments that he played was insane.
Exactly, this man basically played every instrument. His first 5 albums, he played the instruments alone, and the only reason he had a band was because he can't play all the damn instruments. By himself live, so it's like that was so dope. And like hearing all the Prince stories is crazy. This man's like a fucking unicorn, like mythical. Like the hell, bro? Like how are you doing this?
He's one of those. He's one of those people. I'm not even gonna say artist, just flat out. He's just one of those people that is just so comfortable with who he is, and then when he speaks, he has something to say. He's not just throwing words out there.
Exactly. And that's another thing I wanted to mention too, that I'm not trying to I figured that me and Prince had that in common, I would say, is back like like personally, like outside of Twitter, outside of gaming, like I was always a quiet one. I'm very observant, but like my presence said a lot. My presence spoke a lot. And when I actually spoke, you made sure you heard what I said, and you had to hear what I said because, you know, the things I would say, the things I would envision, the things I would predict, the things that, I spoke, they always came into fruition or, it always went a specific way. And so whenever Dre had something to say, you made sure you heard it, not trying to say like, oh, this is like an important person, but like when I actually speak or when you do see me as something and I'm speaking about something, like you make sure you tune in because it's kind of like the gospel in a way. And
Oh Lord.
that's how I do Prince. So,
Yeah, I feel that. I feel that. I like that answer. Though. That is well put. I was a big huge. I was a big Prince fan growing up, so that's why I felt the need to have to ask you like why Prince so much. So fantastic answer. It sounds like you had quite the history with listening to his music and following his career, similar to what I had. But
almost definitely.
but
Today is birthday.
Oh, right. So that's even crazier, right?
Right, exactly.
So, yeah, rest in peace to him. But the last thing I'm going to have you do before we close it out is I'm just going to have you go on ahead and describe gaming as a whole using only 3 words.
Gaming as a whole. Ooh. Exciting? Ooh, 3 words. Exciting for one. Gee, that's interesting. Exciting. There's a word I'm looking for right now. I just had it on the tip of my tongue. I want to say eye-opening, but I don't want to just say that. I want to say something else. I forgot what the damn word was. Exciting, responsible, and I'm just gonna say exploring. Lastly.
All right. So exciting, responsible, and exploring.
Yes.
Whew, all right. That's an interesting 3 words right there, especially the responsible one. That one's really interesting. But Dre, I'd like to say thank you for giving me a piece of your time. As I see, it's very busy. You got a lot of things going on. I see why you haven't been making content so much because you on the run, bro. You on the run.
And you know what? It's been a while. I was supposed to do your show so long ago. I remember, and I was like, oh shit, like it's been a while. I'm glad you hit me up because I've been in this space lately to where I'm not as interactive with the community like I normally am. So I'm just glad that you remembered me at least. And we got this chance to actually do this tonight because I was supposed to be in here a while ago, and I had to definitely make that time to come back and do something for the community in whole. So I definitely appreciate that invitation. The olive branch you presented during tonight's show.
Oh, absolutely. And as I said earlier in the show, anytime you want to create something, do something, whatever, just holler at me. I'm more than happy to help or be part of or just whatever you need. I'm trying to what I'm trying to say is I'm here for the community and you're part of the community, so I definitely want to be there for those people that I feel have something good to say and have a good heart behind it.
Yeah, most definitely. I truly appreciate it, bro.
Absolutely.
Like, this is dope, and I really feel like we could, because man, so many conversations tonight could really drag on for hours about specific topics. If are you doing anything for the Xbox showcase?
Yeah, I am, and if you are interested, you're more than welcome to be part of the podcast because we're going to do a watch party, right? And I think for this one, we may or may not be on camera. I'm not sure. But what I'm trying to say is it's not a have to be on camera kind of thing. So it might be like 2 or 3 of us on camera and like maybe 1 or 2 other people not on camera because they're out because they're doing stuff. But I'm going to be right here, like sitting right here doing the damn thing, watching it. I'm not walking away. I'm going to have my water. I'm going to have some food. I'm just going to be kicking it here. There's going to be no reason for me to get my ass up out of this seat for 90 minutes at least.
Oh, yeah, my son, he's going to be distracted. So, yeah, like E3 is like, I take E3 is like the WrestleMania of gaming for me. I mean, it's not
it's
E3
the Super
anymore,
Bowl.
but come on. We know what the hell June showcases mean. E3. I don't care if E3 is not having a show this year. It's still E3 to me, goddammit. So that's what it is. That's my WrestleMania of gaming. Gamer Mania, E3, the big daddy, granddaddy of them all. So Sunday, if anything, I'm down.
Fantastic. Well, thank you so much, chat, for being here. Stank Ma Too Big. It was great having you guys in the chat, just chit-chatting around and saying what you had to say. You guys had some fantastic points and some good things to say to the guests. So that's dope to see. Make sure that y'all hit that like button and hit the subscribe button if you guys enjoyed this type of content. And be sure to be back here on Thursday because I'm having Barry. I can't say his last name very easy, but Brother Barry. I'm just gonna go with that. Brother Barry is coming on the show. Keep an eye out. I'll be posting that stuff on Twitter. And then next week, I'm gonna be kicking off Tuesday with J-Rock, which will be interesting because Tuesday is also the same day as an event that's going to be happening earlier in that day. There's supposed to be a second Xbox event that's coming out. So definitely be sure to be aware of that. Keep up on your literature and whatnot and see the time of that and make sure that you're around because we'll probably put on another kind of impromptu show for that as well, just kind of a little watch party or whatnot. But yeah, next Tuesday is going to be J-Rock. This Thursday is Barry, and then next Thursday I haven't even wrote it down yet, but it's a middle-aged gamer guy, Mag, which he does all sorts of crazy like pony videos and stuff like that of him acting a fool. Yeah, I mean the videos are absolutely hilarious. But I appreciate everybody for coming out. Have a wonderful day. Y'all stay safe. And like I said before in other previous episodes, keep it gaming or keep it moving. Peace out, y'all.
Have a good night, everybody. Thank you.
Welcome to the Behind Them Sticks podcast brought to you by TSWS Gaming.
Come and talk to me, Lennard Ray. Come on. Come and talk to me. I just wanna have a conversation. No, I'm not your type of baby. Listen, I'm just saying we can rule the world, just me and you. If you quit playing, won't you take a chance with me and have that conversation? I just wanna have that conversation with you. Come and talk to me. I just wanna have that conversation with you. Look, see we vibing and you know it's true. Baby, what it do? Do for me and I'ma do for you. No doubt about it, Boosie. I'm a Midwest king looking for myself